Okay. Oh
Bye.
man.
We're
You
gonna
know,
be at
sometimes,
we're about to be
you know,
like on 20
sometime,
seconds.
sometime, you might say something funny. I don't start laughing until she start laughing because her laugh is like
No, she just cute though.
her laugh is just
You just start laughing.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, we are.
all right. So how was your day? Did you guys have a good day?
I won't complain. It wasn't
That's
bad.
good. That's good. What did you do?
So yeah,
I went by the pool. Um, it was fun with some friends slash family. Friends turned into family,
That's always good.
and yeah, and then cooked and then came home.
Well,
I didn't even get any invite from you guys. What's up with that?
Last I heard, you were like not even in the same county as us. So you know, next time, Liz, we got you on the next one.
I'll be good. All right. So the next one will be where at the same location, or it's gonna be somewhere else.
Probably the same location.
Cool. So,
Bring your bathing suit and your
um,
I don't
sunscreen.
think I'm gonna be part of it though.
why
Oh,
not?
Nah, I might be there, but I don't do well with public pool.
Yeah.
I don't
Speaking
do
of that,
well
what's up with you and that, man?
with who?
What's up with you with the public school that you
I
know?
don't know. It's just I've had bad experience. I had a few bad experience in public pool.
Like you piano or something?
Not me personally. Not
Oh,
me.
what was it? A woman?
Why? It doesn't really matter if it was a woman or a man. Both nasty. The way I see it, they both nasty. Don't you think?
So basically, that's the reason why.
Not just that. It's just I've seen people come from running literally for sweating and just jump on the pool. Especially public pool, you should shower before you. You know, you're not the only person using it. I've seen people do a lot of, those. You're not supposed to get on the pool while you're dirty. You know what I mean? You don't go there to
Yeah.
shower. But
So I think they
you know
should.
the pool has chlorine in it too, which is like
it
a
it does, but the thing is that you put too much chlorine in it, it's your problem. You don't put too enough in it, it's still, you know what I mean? It just
so
there is no win.
do you come with your chlorine testing kit?
No, I don't, but it's just I
No,
just don't. I
I
avoid the
think
whole.
I think that they should put like like a quick shower like before you jump in the pool. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys been to the beach and they usually have
Oh,
those
they have
water
those little.
tanks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, they should
But
have
the
that.
beach isn't any different. I would say if anything, it's probably
No, but the
more
thing is
germ
the
infested.
no, but it's more natural, and
Yeah.
it's harder to get the beach dirty. So it's you know what I
The
mean. It's
what?
just
What
it's
do you say?
harder to
What do you
get
say?
the
Hard
sorry.
to get the beach dirty.
Or you can't really get that water dirty. You know what I mean? Like
That's not what they're trying to say, Liz.
Mm,
but
You
I
know,
think I don't know.
Egyptian he has a dirty mind, so when he's speaking, so you got to be
no.
careful what he's saying.
But all right. I'm
I
glad you
heard
guys
I
you.
had
I
a
get.
heard
good
you,
day.
Jeff. That's fine.
Yeah.
Mm,
No, don't get me wrong. I'll do them. It's just I don't do them often. You know what I mean? Like I don't mind it. It's just that's not something I get excited about. That's all.
Hmm.
gotcha. All right, back to the topic, guys.
I'm glad you guys had a good day. So
Yeah.
let's
Oh,
get
I saw my
started.
son and my daughter there. They all had fun though. That's really cool. I like it. But I kind of miss them tonight because they're not home. I'm just about to cry. That's all right. I'll see them tomorrow.
Sound
Hey,
like a
Gypsy, you know
big
it's
lady.
funny. It's funny. Gypsy knows. He knows how I feel about them when they're not around like that.
Yeah, it feels incomplete. Like before you guys, before we started, I kept, walking away from the camera because my kid's dad, he came to pick up my kids, and I kind of didn't want him to take them because that's my lifeline, So now that they're gone, it's like, I'm just here by myself, and I'm like, oh my babies, I hugged them like 4 or 5 times,
When are
even
they
though
coming?
when are they coming back?
Mm,
I don't know. I think Monday or Tuesday or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's
That,
weird because they haven't really been away from me for like an extended period of time. They're always with me. But you guys know that. So it's like
Yeah.
now they're not, and it's like, if I don't have all three, I have at least one of them with me. So you go from, all three or one to none. So it's like the house is like quiet. I don't know what to do with myself because it's like my arm. If I lose my arm right now, I'm gonna keep looking for it,
yeah.
searching for it. So, but
Is that the
Especially
first
the little
time
one. Now.
they're gonna be gone for that long?
no. I mean, he's had them for like a week one time for spring break.
Mm,
But I was in school at the time, and I actually needed the break, so it was good to have it. But life didn't stop. But now
yeah.
it's a little slower, and it's like you kind of realize, like, oh man, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Now we here though. We're here for you,
Thanks.
you
right,
you got
Gypsy?
all the support you need.
Hell yeah. We got you. Real family.
Yeah.
So back to the topic, Gypsy. What was this topic about again?
You asking me?
Yeah.
You're the topic guy. You're the no, but we were gonna start with was it because we had options either money, trust, honesty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is
Forgiveness.
yeah,
I
forgiveness.
think we started off with dating outside your culture.
Yeah, that
Have you
one
done
first.
it? Are you for it? Are you against it? Um, where you ended up now,
Me
and then
personally,
what it feels like.
from where I started, I never expected I was gonna end up where I ended up. If I'm being honest, it's
Have you
it's
dated outside your culture?
uh, to be honest, my first girlfriend in this country wasn't. She was actually white. Yes,
Like
my very.
like blonde, white?
She was mixed.
Okay.
She was mixed with Spanish. She was mixed with two other. I think one of her grandparents was actually black, but she was more white than. Yeah, yeah. I think one of her parents was mixed. So yeah,
I mean, I dated African American, like, but I never see myself, you know, be in a deep relationship, like, like serious stuff. I never see myself like, cause I always wanted like my Haitian queen, like that's me. Cause the way I was raising, like I just didn't see me like being with somebody outside of my culture. I didn't see that. I mean, back then I was young and I was like, I was out there, but deep down I didn't see me like being in a deep serious relationship with anybody outside my culture. I didn't see it happen. But
Jeffy
what
felt the
about
same
you?
way?
Huh?
no, actually, I didn't think I would have. I was gonna end it up with a Haitian girl.
Really?
I didn't see it.
Why you didn't see it? Is it because the audience that you had? Is it because you
That
just
one and two, it was just I had a lot of bad experience with them, a lot, and there was a few good ones, but for the most part, most of them were, how do I say it, very irresponsible in a way.
in what way? Like financially irresponsible? Um,
Financially, not even financially. It's more like they didn't really look at the future. You know what I mean? Let's say you're looking for somebody, you need to. You're not looking for somebody who's ready, but you need somebody who's have the vision at least.
has potential.
Yeah, and it was crazy. Just when I look at it, that I actually ended up with one because I really never, especially in high school, I didn't see it. My crowd one, and two, it was just I don't know, but did I like dating outside my culture? Hell yeah, it was fun. It was fun, but
I, I mean, I had, but I didn't see myself be like married and having kids with anybody else in my culture. I mean, especially as you guys know from, um, I was afraid of, you know, getting child support stuff like that. Because Haitian, but Haitian, they kind of like they don't really want to deal with things like that. But when you're dealing with especially African American, they don't care and they're gonna put you in that. I'm always afraid of.
nah, but you gotta take care of
Yeah,
your kids. If you're taking care of your kid, you ain't gotta worry about that.
but you gotta understand that regardless what you do, try to be there. But that's what they want, so they're gonna try to mess you up regardless. Am I wireless?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. So I can just tell you. So I've dated outside of my culture. Would I do it again?
So what's your culture though? Because you are like what like you have to. So which one that you go with?
It's funny. If I could be totally honest with you guys. So my father is Haitian. That's that you guys know. And my mother was Jamaican.
Hmm.
So my father, he wasn't around. He didn't. So when Lunas was talking about the child support and Jepson's like, oh, you have to take care of your kids, it's kind of the truth because my mother, she did not put my dad on child support. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing, like, you know what, I'm just gonna take care of my child. I'm not gonna go through with it. But I do know a lot of my mom would call them Black Americans or African Americans.
Yeah,
I
but
know a lot of them who have their children's father on child support. If they are that, most of them, I don't know any that don't. I'll just say it like that. I don't
no,
know any
but
Black American women that don't. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe that they should take care of their children. However, my mom didn't get any financial help from my father whatsoever, but she did not go that route. She raised me solely by herself. So growing up, I felt like, like, have there been Haitian guys who have come and talked to me when I was much younger? Yes. Did I like curve them and not talk to them because they were Haitian? I'll be honest. Yes. Not that they weren't a nice guy or that I didn't find them attractive. It was just the first Haitian man experience that I had was with my own father, and he was not there. So I kind of tried to distance myself from that part of who I was. But the more I did that, it's almost like the more it came to me. And it's like my mama would say, Liz, you should embrace your background. You should embrace your heritage, embrace your culture. So, you know, that didn't happen until much later. And so have I dated Jamaican men? Yes. Have I dated Haitian? No, not really. Have I dated American? Yes. Have I dated um in the Hispanic? Yes. So I've dated outside of my culture, and now it's like I'm older and it's like I have you guys in my life. So it's like you guys kind of put a different perspective on the, the Haitian culture. So it's like that's something that I'm trying to embrace more of, trying to speak the language, trying to learn as much as I could. And it's just like, I don't have anything bad. So it's like although I had a bad experience initially, now that you guys have come in my life for the years that you've been in my life, it shows me another side of what I didn't see before when I was, when I was younger. So I could thank you guys for that.
Hey, we're a family.
Yeah.
Nah,
So,
So,
go ahead.
so how old are you when you because you mentioned that your dad, you didn't really grow up with your dad.
Right.
So how old were you when your dad you realized that your dad is not around for you?
Well, I don't really know because I just know growing up he wasn't there. I can count on my hand maybe. My mom said that, she kind of parted ways when I was like 2. So I always grew up without him, but I knew who he was. He did come around. I know that my mom and my dad, like I'll just say like my mom loved my dad. She just knew she couldn't be with him. And like she would, like as I got older, I would see that how she looks at him. You can tell the love she had for him was still there. And she never said anything bad about him. She just said, she's like, Liz, your dad treated me really well. Anyway, so I always grew up without him around, but he'd come around every so often, but it wasn't often. Maybe I know I saw him once when I was about 7. I saw him once again when I was about maybe 14. I spoke to him on the phone when I was like 19. 18, he came around because my mom had lost contact, and then I found my sisters who my mom helped raise, and she reached out to them, and they reconnected. Then they brought me around again, and then he was supposed to be at my graduation. He didn't show up, and then I saw him again when my mom was, diagnosed with cancer, and then I saw him again. At her funeral, and then I saw him again after, like a couple years after. And then that was it. I spoke to him on the phone. Last time we spoke was back in 2016, and I haven't spoken to him again.
so you guys don't have a relationship?
No, like I tried to establish one, but I look at it like this. Remember back on our last podcast, I always try to understand where someone's coming from. And I remember I wanted to ask him, hey, like what happened? Like why didn't you come look for me more often, or why weren't you there when I was younger? And his response was something around the lines of, what did he say? Like, oh, that's in the past. I don't want to talk about that. And I just kind of feel like I need that in order to kind of
Yeah,
move
you need
forward.
closure.
Right. Or, some kind of something to like, why didn't you? Was it just that you just didn't want the responsibility? Was it that you were in a relationship with a woman who didn't want your kids around? Like, what is it? Because on the outside looking into me, it just feels like you just didn't want me.
Yeah.
So, so
And
that's kind of why I didn't really associate myself with like, my mom tried to encourage me to see my family and stuff like that. And like she would call, like I think I went to New York one time to see my grandmother, and they called her Magis. I remember I used to go up there and I saw her, and it was, yeah, but he didn't offer that, and I still tried to build on it, but then I just said, forget it, so
and
I
what
didn't
people don't
bother.
get at this point, anything he said to you would have helped.
Yeah, but he just said, like that's in the past. That's so long ago, and I'm not gonna talk about that. And then when I tried to talk to, I think my aunt about the situation, she said, Liz, it could be like embarrassment or shame,
True.
and the culture in them just won't allow them to,
Yeah. The ego.
acknowledge that. Yeah, but I sometimes you got to humble yourself, especially when you know it's something that you've done and you know you were wrong. You have to kind of step outside and say, you know what, I messed up. So,
So
so
do you know any siblings on your dad's side?
yeah, I have two sisters on my dad's side.
Have you met them?
Yeah, I know them. They know me. We're friends on Facebook. And yeah, their mom, it's funny because their mom is Haitian. He had so my mom had two kids from a previous relationship, same person. My father had two kids from another relationship, same person, and then they came together. My mom and dad came together and had me. And when my mom and dad were together, all of them know each other. Like my two sisters from my dad's side know my know my brother and sister from my mom's side. So it was all like a big happy family because they were more tight knit and close, and so yeah, like when my mom passed away, they all showed up. Like my father and my two sisters came, and then my sister and my brother were there. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, so yeah. So they're old. They're a lot older than me. I think they're like in their 50s now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So go back to my question because I don't think you answered
Oh, sorry.
which one of your two culture that you more going toward this side like this the Jamaican side or the Haitian side?
So that was the thing. So like that's why I kind of gave the background to give you like the picture. So it's like I'm more comfortable with the Jamaican side because I was brought up around that. Now,
Okay.
but now that I have you guys and I get more exposure, and then all the other people that have been in my life. I've even have friends that are Haitian. So it's like, when I have them, it's like, you know what, I can't disown who I am because regardless of what, that blood is still running in my veins. I won't you can look at my birth certificate. It says parents, father's place of birth. It's still gonna say Haiti. So it's like now I'm embracing it more. So it's like, but the thing is, the only thing that I would say would create a divide between me and the Haitian side is just the language, which is why I'm trying to make an effort to learn it. You know what I mean? Because the food
Mhm.
really, in my opinion, is not that different. Maybe the seasonings and how it's prepared, but overall, I think the culture, in my opinion, is kind of similar to the Jamaican side as well. It's just the language part for me.
Sorry, you need a Haitian husband.
Oh man,
I'm, I'm
Hey, that would
why
help.
you laughing like?
It's the
Hey,
way Luna said it. I'm not. You know what's funny? I'm not objective to it. And I don't know who I told, but I said to myself, I could see how my mom ended up with a Haitian man and had me. Cause man, y'all are smooth.
hey, hey, you
Oh,
hear that, Justin?
Huh?
So what are your favorite things about Haitian man?
I mean, I don't have many experiences. I'll just be honest. Um, I really don't. I don't have much experience. Just, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I would say what I've experienced is, I mean, and I don't know if that's like, if it's just like based on the individual or if it's the culture. Cause you can't use one situation or one example and say like all of them are like that.
Mhm.
So I would probably say, um, you know, like the small gestures, like those things, like it's not the big grand things that people do. I do take those into consideration, but it's like the little small things. Those are the things that I look into, the thoughtfulness, the consideration. Um, those are the things that I like. Those are the things,
There,
well, I like it all, but those are the things that I see and I appreciate.
there is
Um,
a stereotype. They say they fall in love too quick. Do you
well, with
feel
the
like,
the
yeah,
Haitian man.
do you feel like the ones you've been on, do you feel like they fall in love quick?
I don't know. Like, I'll tell you, I don't know because I don't know. I really don't know because you know I don't know. I don't know because I don't even know if I even got into that point. So it's hard to it's hard to say. Um, mm, I just think that I don't know. I really don't know.
Come
I
on, you
try
can
not
say
to
it.
like because I'm an overthinker and I overanalyze.
That's
That's
bad.
one of my
That's a
things.
that's recipe for disaster.
What overthinking and
Yeah,
overanalyzing?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and
it's
it's but
good.
it's not always a bad thing because I
No,
mean
it's not always.
yeah, it can have it has its benefits, but I think it also has its drawbacks
Yeah.
because you can take something that could mean a certain way and
Hmm.
that was not the way it was intended. You know, and you can overthink and just keep processing, and you're looking at it at 10 different ways and how you could have said this different or done this different, you know. But over analyzing, not in a negative way too, but but remember that this is why, like, I think it goes back to the conversation we had about cheating and knowing your partner and communicating, because like those small little things, once you get to know your partner, those small little details and things that they do, you know it before it even happens, or you know it after it happens or when it happens. And that's where I say that overanalyzing part kind of comes into play because you just know your person, but in the situation I'm in now, it's like I don't know, so I can't overanalyze, and I'm not trying to um I'm not trying to set myself up, if you know what I mean. So
Okay.
yeah, but I've had some Haitian friends who's like they were friends and then they were trying to like progress it into something more, and I'm like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that, But I don't know. I don't know if they fall in love quick, and if they do, I mean, but is I guess my question would be like, but if it's genuine, then I don't see it being a problem. You know what you like, and if that's what you like and it's real, why not?
That makes sense.
That makes
Yeah.
sense though. So have you ever dated a white man though?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I have not. Have
Just
I
like that.
talked to, like, when you say dating, I mean, okay, can we go back? What do you guys classify as when you're talking to someone? What does talking mean to you guys?
Talking, you're just talking because you can be talking to multiple people at a time. Dating is
Right,
like you have that one person you with. Like basically, to me, boyfriend and girlfriend, that's kind of dating.
right,
But I don't know. Like people do see it differently. Dating,
right,
maybe you, yeah. I can see people might think dating is just talking to multiple people. Yeah, people have different definition for it, I guess.
right,
But to me, dating means boyfriend and girlfriend. That's technically dating to me.
Yeah, especially if
Once you
you
married, that's marriage.
right.
Boyfriend and girlfriend, we dating. Talking too, yeah, we just
so
talking. There is no agreement. We're not together. If you see me with somebody, that's none of your business. Because at the end of the day, we're not dating. We're just talking. No, no, no. I'm being. That's what it is, right?
come on, let's be
Yeah. If
honest.
I'm wrong, let me know.
No,
That's
I'm
what it
just
is, right?
laughing the way you said if you see me with somebody that's none of your business.
Because we're dating. Cause I mean not dating. Because we're talking. We just talking,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Lunez, what you think?
I mean, Gibson is right. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So what's your answer to that though?
To mine?
Yeah.
Like they use those terms so interchangeably, and sometimes it's like things get hairy. Like there's no clear kind of cut and dry explanation. But I'm leaning more to because that's what I was saying to someone. Um, I don't remember like couple months ago. I was just like, hey, how do you view dating and talking and, you know, so I lean more to what Jepson's saying. Like when you're talking, you're talking. But I think talking is just what it is talking. You're not sleeping with them. You're not, you're just talking. You're getting to know them. You're going to see if the personalities and if all those things blend well. You're getting to know like, hey, what
Yeah.
do you like? What do you not like? That's how, because it's talking. Now I feel like if you're sleeping together, then that makes it a little more tricky because then you
Yeah.
start blending things in, and it's like, hey, you're laying down with this person. If that person sees you with someone else that you're dating or that you're talking to, I feel like then, of course people are going to get in their feelings because men have feelings too. They may really like a girl, but maybe insecurity, maybe past relationships have them not wanting to, especially if they've been hurt before, maybe they don't want to come out and say, hey, I really like you. I want to take this further out of fear of rejection. And then, but they're still sleeping together. But then they see her, they're out with their friends and they see her with another guy. So it's like it kind of, when you start sleeping with someone, I think it kind of makes it kind of get a little bit, kind of uncertain. But I look at talking as just talking. You're getting to know them. You're going out on dates. You guys are, doing things together. That's talking. And then I think dating is more like okay, we're going to either date multiple people until the other person's ready, see if there's better out there, or we're going to start sleeping together, and then the relationship progresses, and then you enter the, I call it like the commitment phase or the commitment stage, because now you and the person have a clear understanding, like, hey, I'm with you, you're with me, we're not seeing anybody else. And then, hopefully it progresses into, if it's the right person for
And
you, hopefully it progresses into marriage.
that's
I
even
mean,
something I hear people use as well. Seeing someone, I'm seeing someone.
Yeah.
Like, are you with them? No, I'm
Yeah.
seeing them. Like,
Like, I
or
don't know what that means,
I don't
like,
know. You just said
me,
it. That's what I'm saying. Hey,
yeah. But
that's
because
something.
that word has been used, like, that I've heard someone use that word. I'm seeing someone. I'm like, what do you mean you seeing somebody? Does that mean you and them are together?
Yeah. No, I'm
But
just seeing them.
so I mean, I kind of like how you put it, Liz, the way you put like a phase and stuff like that. So for instance,
yeah,
like when we're talking, like when we just talking, there's so basically there's no feeling involved. But when we dating, now we have there's a feeling involved on that. So just if we're just talking right now, like we just no feeling involved. Whatever you do, I can care less about what you do.
Yeah, because that's
You
what I
can
was
talk to
saying. You
anybody.
can be
That's
talking
not
to multiple people at
yeah.
the time.
But
right.
once we dating, that's two different things. Now feeling involved on that, so you can just like be like, hey, I'm going out with my boyfriend or my, you know what I mean. You can't just. But if you just talking, like, you know what I mean, just like you can technically you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
let's say you're talking to somebody. No, no. Let's say you have a boyfriend. Can you still be talking to other people?
No. That's the absolute. You should not be doing that. If you that's the thing. When you start putting titles on these things, then you need to really kind of assess. And I think that's why sometimes people just need to have that conversation. Like, hey, how do you feel? Truthfully, how do you feel if I talk to someone else? But if it's already been established that that's your boyfriend or that's your girlfriend, I don't feel like you should be talking to anybody else. Neither party should be, because you guys already established that you guys are together. You know. But that whole dating and seeing and talking, you know, I think all those things should be discussed, because I think it boils back down to communication. Because some people, like right now, there's people are in this stage or this era where they don't feel as though until somebody commits to you, they're saying talk to as many people as you want to. That's what they're saying, because I'm not married. So, is that my goal? Yeah. So anything I do, I'm hopefully whoever I'm doing it with, that's their goal too. But some people, they're just like, oh, well, you're single. Talk to as many people as you want until somebody commits to you. And it's just like, mm, it's just kind of like, I don't know. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. So so basically you from where you are right now, so like I said, I'm gonna go back to that again. Like
So yeah, so
you
back to the
didn't answer,
culture
you
thing.
didn't answer my question
I
though.
did answer it. I said I identify more with the Jamaican because like that was what I was raised and surrounded by.
Now
But
the
oh
question was, have you dated a white man? Now
oh oh yeah. So dated? No. Talk to? Yes. Talk to. Like that was all, but it never progressed into anything more than just talking.
Why not?
so
Why not?
Hmm.
Mm, I don't know. I want to say like I don't know. Honestly, it's not even like it was like the conversation was bad or the energy was bad or I don't really have anything bad to say other than it just never went there. And I don't know if it's because back to this whole topic, the culture thing. It's like it was different for me. It was and it was different. So it's just like sometimes when it's something that I'm not used to, I will step away from something if it's not something I'm comfortable with because I haven't been exposed to it. I'll welcome it in, but as something as intimate as like sleeping with them, I didn't. I just yeah.
so you didn't see yourself in the bed with somebody different color, skin
Eh,
color.
Probably not, and it's just I'm not used to it, so I didn't even entertain it past like the conversation. Like everything was great. There wasn't anything bad. It's just that when it got to that intimate part, I just kind of backed away. It just never happened. And it just like, I don't know if it was just my body telling me no or my mind telling me no or just, just it just being different for me. But no, it never got to that point.
Hmm.
So, and yeah,
So you just wanted to stay within your blackness.
I'll tell you what, I've dated a Black American, but I was young. Like I was really, really young. And don't think I would ever date a Black American. And not that the experience was bad. It's just that culturally, they're just so much different than us. Now, would I date someone who's American but has like island parents? Yeah. Or even someone who was born and raised there. But to date like a straight Black American, like your family's from, no, I would not. It's just not my thing.
Too much island in you.
Probably, probably,
So
probably.
do you have any particular reason why you just don't you did want, I mean you don't want to date them like that?
What, the Black Americans?
Yeah.
Um, the ones that I've seen or the ones that I've interacted with, like overall, they're okay. I just don't feel like they have the ambition, the drive, certain things that, we would look at from a cultural background, they would not. I mean, I know they have certain similarities as far as like respect for elders and things like that, but I think when you deal with them on a different level as far as like maturity, accountability, being responsible, the way they view their parents or their grandparents, some of them I don't feel as though that understanding is there. Is I just think culturally there comes a thing where, you know, it goes without having to be said. It's already understood. If it's already understood, you don't need to explain it. And I think with some of them, they don't have that. They don't have that where, that's my family and that's my family and I love them regardless of how they are. That's still my family. You know, the respect for the elders, the greeting, even just the greeting itself is, like it's just different. It's not, they have their own beliefs. Like, when they get married, they jump over the broom And I don't know about that. It's just not, it's just different for me. It's just like, okay, I would attend one, but those things are just different.
So let me ask you a question, Gibson. Is there any reason why you backed up on, like,
On
you
white
know
girl.
not just white girl exactly, but
No, but part of the main reason, I don't know, it just happened. If I'm being honest, it just happened. Especially, as you know, you met one of my girlfriends before, before Juju. She
yeah,
was Black American. She wasn't Haitian. She wasn't, from any island. She was literally born and raised here. Her parents born and raised here. So
Mm,
it was good, but certain things was a little different compared to how we grew up.
yeah.
And that experience, I would say, have its good and its bad, and I learned from both. And then after her, I would say I don't think I did it any Haitian until Juju.
Really?
No,
Damn.
because everybody I was talking to or messing with, they were all
not
either
that.
no at all. Actually, far from it. Some were Hispanic, white, black, but and then I will say probably at the end of 20 2018, 2019. That's when I kind of, it was just, I don't know, it was just anybody that I'm feeling really. When you meet somebody you can just feel like the vibe, it was more that to me than cultural. It was
Did you see
more
yourself with any of them, like all those other races and cultures you were talking to? Did you see yourself long term with them, or you just
not
never
not
thought
all of them, not all of them, not
any of
all of
them?
them, not some of them, but not all of them.
Okay.
And it was not a specific, race. It was, if after like a few months of talking you can now see, okay, she have a good head on her shoulder. She, what I mean, like some of them, yes, but not all of them. But when I was younger, from like high school to after I graduated high school, most Haitian girls I was talking to, none of them had that. You know what I mean? I didn't
But you
see it
also
in
got to
any.
look at like the age too, that
Yeah,
that I
maybe
think
that
that
played
plays a
part
part.
in it at the time. Maybe that playing it at the time, but even now, some of them are still out there. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I love to party, but I don't see myself at the club every weekend anymore. Because I did that for about 3 years straight, partying,
Um,
clubbing when I was, 24 to like 26, 27. But now I'm a homebody. If I'm not out with like family, I'm home. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like I need. I can't be with somebody who, I don't mind it. Let's say you want to go out tonight, cool, have fun. But me personally, I wouldn't want to see myself with somebody who wanna be out every weekend when I don't want to. Now she gonna feel like, I'm trying. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to hold her down when she wanna be out. Like now they'll have been like, you know what I mean? I will have to compromise, like me being home. Oh, she wanna go out now. She want me to go with her. I have to. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to put anybody in that position. And around the time when I stopped doing those things, most of the girls, that's what they wanted to do.
mm,
They wanted to party every weekend, and I was kind of done with it. So yes, the age play a part in it, but some of them still nowadays, that's what they do.
wow.
Don't get me wrong, I love to party, but it's just I can't be doing it every weekend like I used to anymore.
So
There was like
do you have any regret though?
none of it,
No.
none, not
So
one. If I'm being
so
honest, not one.
so basically you're saying that if there's a way that for you to go back, you would go back to do it again.
Not that I would go back. It's just I don't regret it because it was in partying back then and like going out back then and going out now is different. It's just people used to party and have fun. Now you go out, you have to worry about this. You don't feel safe. It's just I don't know. It's different. It's different from like 5, 6 years ago.
So basically, you're okay right now where you are right now with your queen.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I'm
Like,
good. I'm not. You know when you are in a relationship but you're not tied down. If that makes sense, you still free. Like when I say free, I mean like you know how some people when they're in a relationship, if she said, "Hey, you're not going anywhere. You can go there." You know what I mean? Like it's always no, no, no. Let's say if I want to go out, I'm like, "Hey, tonight," or I let her know, like, "Hey, I'm going out." It's not gonna be like, "No, you can't do that." You know what I mean? Because I've seen that
yeah,
happen when people are in a relationship, and it's like basically it's prison. They can't do anything that they wanna do when they wanna do it. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
why I would say I don't have any regrets. Like even if I wanna go out tonight and stay till 1, 2 a.m., I can. But at the same time, I don't feel comfortable doing it because I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? I have my son, you know what I mean? Not that I regret it, but it's just I wouldn't want to do something like that, if that makes sense. Every now and then, maybe once a year, if I'm really feeling like, doing something like that, I can. But it's just the drive of me being out every weekend is just I don't have it anymore.
that's good though. That's good.
Yeah.
So,
I
Liz, let me ask you this: how would you feel about when you with your partner and you want to go out with your partner and be like you're not going anywhere?
Um,
How would you take that?
so I'm not really like the going out type. I'll be honest. I've went to the club one time
your entire life.
my whole entire life.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went out one time. I don't even know how old I was. And I went out with a friend of mine. And um, honestly, it was not my scene. I was raised by, I don't know. It's just, I am naturally a homebody. I'm more outgoing now, but I am not the one, like, if Juju Sand came and said, girl, let's go. A perfect example. You remember when we went to Julio's birthday party at Casablanca's
Yeah, that's a
a couple
minute
years
ago.
ago?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a
Right.
while ago.
Yeah. So I was single then too. And um I was invited to go out. And I was like, I don't have anything to wear. And they're like, oh, go here and go buy something. They're open late. That's how I found out Burlington was open late at night. And I was like, nah, that's not my scene because that's just not my scene. I don't, I just, it doesn't intrigue me. If my friend, like if I'm with my partner and I wanted to go out, I'm probably going to go hang out with some friends, like at a house or, go chill in Lime like we typically do. But if they said, you know, I'm not going anywhere, that would open up a conversation that probably should have been had a long time ago. Why do you not want me to go out? Not saying that I would say, oh, well, F you, I'm still going to go out. No. If my partner, because whatever it is that I do out there, it's going to be temporary. No matter what I do out there, it will be temporary. Temporary enjoyment, temporary good time. But if this is my partner and I'm living with him and he comes and I'm coming back home to him, I more than likely wouldn't jeopardize that for temporary, enjoyment for something that's going to probably cause me years, months, weeks of problems at home. Because
Mhm.
I don't live at the club or I don't live out. I live with my partner. So if I'm coming home to my partner every night and he's looking at me sideways or giving me the stink look because I went out after he told me not to, then I just be like, okay, well, what's going on? And if he has a valid reason, then I could say, okay, well, let us do something then. So, but if you're telling me you don't want to go out, you don't want to go out, and you don't want me to go out, and you don't want to go with me, then it's just like, okay, why? You know?
I
Um,
mean, I feel
You
like
know,
you can tell her
I
no, but
just
there's a way to say it. You know what I mean? You can be like, no, you're not going nowhere. It's you can
yeah.
say no, but there is a way to say it.
Regardless of how it's said, I mean, yes, the delivery does matter, but I also think at the end of the day, it's your partner expressing that they don't want you to go out. And there's a reason. I mean, whatever the reason is, whether it's safety, whether it's I don't like who you are when you get drunk, whether it's I don't want anybody to take advantage of you. It could be a list of reasons. It could be insecurity. It could be I don't want anyone looking at you when I'm not around and I'm not going. Then it's like, there's reasons. But if you just come out of blue and say, hey, I don't want you to go, obviously this should have been something that was talked about before I'm deciding to get dressed. It should be on some, like, let's just say today is Monday or Tuesday. Hey, babe, so and so invited me out this Saturday. I'm going to go out with so and so this Saturday. Then I would find out early on, hey, I don't want you going with that person, or I don't want you going, or you know what I mean? It could even be the company you keep that they don't want you to go. It may not be anything about you and maybe all about who you're going with. So, those things are important, but I always look at the bigger picture. If the person that I won't create like unnecessary drama and tension in my life for something temporary. But if you're telling me not to go, I would expect to do something with you, not just you tell me to stay home and then you're going out, or you tell me to stay home and we're doing nothing. So,
you
you
know,
don't want
I
to
mean,
make people of that.
I asked this question for a reason, but I know it's kind of out of topic. But we want to talk about. I just asked the question for a reason, but here's the thing though, because I know that there's a lot of men out there they really controlling. You know what I mean? Like for any reason they might be like, well, like so basically just for any type of reason they be like, I don't want you to wear this. I don't want like I know some men kind of extreme on that. So I would say that like as a couple, we are a partner. We're not a. I'm not your kid. You're not my kid. So I don't think that being controlling like should be a part of our relationship. Like I should be as a adult. I should be free. Like you know what I mean. Like not be like try to detect my life. Like that's what I want you to do. You can't wear this. You can't go there. You can't. You know what I mean. Things like that. Um, let's just say you face something like that though. How would you deal with something like that?
Just as easy as I could be understanding, I could be the opposite too. I can bite back. I can be very, no, I don't want to say argumentative, but if my belief and values and I totally support them, I'm going to stand on it all the way to the end. You can't change my mind. You won't, now if it's someone that's controlling, um like I've been with someone that's controlling, and I'll tell you this, I wouldn't do that shit again. I'll tell you that
So,
right now.
so what about if that's gonna cause your relationship?
Hmm.
What about if that ended up cause your relationship to end?
I
Say it
mean,
again.
if you're with somebody who's controlling, you might as well end it,
Yeah. So
right?
what about just because of for you not listening to him and then that caused your relationship?
I mean, um, I probably wouldn't be in that relationship, Lunez, and I only laugh because I've been in a situation like that. Not so much about, well, actually, yeah, I've been in actually two, and one of them, I just was like, oh, well, you have a problem with my friends? Like, you don't even know them. And it was just like, oh, well, choose me or your friends. So I'm going to choose my friends because I said, you know what, at the end of the day, they were there before you and they're going to be there after you. And I just cut
So
it short because it's just like, you want me to stay home and I'm not going to do that. That is
so
not, I'm not going to, but not, no, no, no.
so let me put it that way though. Let's just say I'm your partner, right? And I know that some of your friends and they like a bad influence in some cases. And I said that, hey, babe, I don't think you should be talking to that person, right? Because it's such and such. I mean, and that person is not really a good person to be around. And then for me, I ended up find out she's not a good person for you to be around. And I'd be like, hey, babe, if I were you, I would stop talking to that person. And you just to keep doing it.
That's a
So
tough one.
do you call that controlling?
Um, I feel like anything where you're trying to, I don't want to say the word manipulate, but anything where you're trying to direct the path of someone to do something in a manner that you want them to do it, it is a form of control. Now, just because you have reason or justification behind it doesn't necessarily stop it from being controlling. You're telling it what to do, maybe not at all times, but I mean, your partner should know you as a person, and your partner should also know your friend. Your partner should also know their friend. And if they know that this person does not align or will not be beneficial to the relationship that they have, then it has to be some kind of understanding. But I mean, I look at things way different. If we're just dating or you're my boyfriend, you're going to have to deal with it. That's my friend and that's just what it is. Now, if you're my husband, then I'm like, okay, again, I'm not going to jeopardize my home for something else. Now, will I
So
still be a friend? I will probably still be friends with that person, but I probably wouldn't hang out with them as often, or I would probably encourage them to do maybe more couple related activities, and not more like single girl things.
so
Uh,
basically, you tell me that you would jeopardize a potential husband for a friend.
Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, potential, like that's the thing with the potential. There's no certainty in that, and
So
it
what
all,
about your friend though? You think your friend will be there for you forever though?
I don't know, because I don't have a lot of friends. I mean, I have you guys, and I have one friend, one other friend, and that's it. I really, and we've seen each other through different phases of our lives. Like she's seen me in a relationship, she's seen me, I've seen her single, I've seen her engaged, married, she's seen me through relationship and breakup. So it's like we've seen each other through all these different phases of our lives. And it's just one of those things where life happens, but if I don't see why someone would have an issue with one of my friends, because I think I have a good choice in character choosing. And if the person has poor character, they wouldn't really be my friend anyway. If because I always think of, will my future husband be okay with my friend? And I personally don't think that I have friends that someone can look at and say, hey, they're a bad influence. Not one. I don't think I have one. And if I do, they're probably really not a friend. They're more probably just an associate.
So what do you think about that, Gibson? So basically, I'm gonna say it again though. Just because you have a friend, just because that person is your friend, and you have somebody like your potential husband, like could be your husband, and as you know, there's some people that surround you, you call friends, so-called friend. They might not be here forever for you, but if you somebody that is like a potential husband, I would probably, you know, go with that, instead of for the friend.
Me personally, I don't think I would have to say anything because I feel like, let's say, I'm with somebody and she have a friend that that I see that could jeopardize what we have, I probably wouldn't have to say anything because I feel like she should see, okay, that person is not really in my best interest.
Mm-hmm.
And if she still wants to keep that friend, that's on her.
But I think you have to say
Because
something because as a as
how
a as a as a
okay, you
partner,
can say something.
if you
You
see a
can
danger,
say
you should
something,
let kind
but I
of
don't think you can say something, but I don't think you have to tell her to stop talking to that friend. That would at the end of the day, that's her friend. It'll be her choice to stop talking to her. I don't think when you be like, oh, I don't want you to talk to that person anymore. It's kind of, you can give her and be like, hey, that person, she said that. How do you feel? You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, you can tell her stop being friends with that person.
I think you can.
The same way you see, hey, that person is not a good influence on you. She should say like, oh, you're right. I don't like that. You know what I mean?
And you know
You know,
it's so crazy with that too. Sometimes people come, I'm not gonna say men, but I would just say people come into people's lives and they see them with something and they try to change the outlook
Yep.
of that person. And that is a form of manipulation and abuse and controlling as well. Because sometimes what I have noticed is that people come into people's lives and they'll say, oh, I don't like this person for you. I don't like that person for you. Or this person doesn't mean you well. And, and then by the time you look, the person has nobody
Yeah.
except their partner who is either abusing them maybe physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And it's one of those things like, you cut your friends off for someone who, I mean, in all essence, was controlling. And then now here you are in an abusive relationship and you have nowhere to turn to. And that is also a trait that abusers have. They tend to isolate their victims or their partners so that when the abuse comes, they have no one to run to.
Okay.
So
That's why.
it's a slippery slope, but this is why it's important to look at your partner too, because if you see your partner is, you know, look how they are with certain people. That's how I would always say. This is where the overanalyzing comes. If you see that, when this person's with this person, they're a certain way. This person's a different person, they're a different way. When they're with then you have to kind of sit back and say, like, who is my partner? Because if they're bringing out different pieces of you that your partner's never seen, then it's just one of those things like, well, now you have to analyze, who is your partner really? Is your partner a mixture of all these different people that bring out this part in her, or is my partner just someone that I just didn't know?
Yeah.
But I
That's
mean,
why.
I understand it. I understand the question. I would just say it boils down to your partner. Is your partner, when you met them, you know, when you guys were talking, did they go out a lot? When they go around this particular friend, do they smoke? Do they drink a lot? Do they come in stumbling? Do they, like things like that? So
That's why I say I wouldn't have to say anything because my
that's true.
partner should actually see, hey, that person is not, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like you say, what if I'm the bad apple and now I
Yeah.
call her from talking to her friend? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like I wouldn't have to say anything. She should be like, oh, I don't think that person is a good influence on my relationship.
Yeah.
She's trying to ruin what I have. If I feel like if I can see it, she should be able to see it as well. Of course, I might be able to be like, hey, babe, she just said that to you. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to tell her, hey, you need to stop being friends with your friend.
yeah. So for me, my take on that, I would say something. I mean, if you really care about somebody,
No, but are you going to
and
tell her to stop being friends with her friend?
I mean, so basically, we're gonna talk to her. You don't. I mean, you don't really have to say don't talk to that person. I will give you the reason why you should be talking to that person. Like for you to go find out, try to figure out the reason why I said what I said. Because I'm pretty sure before I mean, before I even say anything, I'll find that I'm not gonna just go say that, hey, don't talk to Liz without me knowing anything about this whatsoever. I
Right.
can I have before I even say something to you is because I know something about the person. I know I have a reason why. I don't
Yeah.
want you.
Okay, so in that instance, since your wife been friend with Liz for that long, you don't think she should have been able to see that?
Um, Here's the thing, though.
Because you
Um,
just met, let's say you just met her and you felt like, oh, she's not a good influence. That's why Liz was saying, like, now you have to look at your partner.
but here's the thing. There's a thing that at least can see, and then you may not be able to see it, right?
True.
Yeah. I'll give you an
So,
example. So, like the last guy I was talking to, he didn't like when I came around you guys, you know?
Damn,
And I'm like, man, like I
that's
wasn't even,
crazy.
I wasn't even doing
that's
anything.
We good people.
Exactly.
that's
Exactly.
different.
So it's
Man,
it's one of those things and I'm like, why do you have an issue with my friends?
damn. So
And
you were like that close from cutting us off.
there was literally no reason. And I think it was just that when I was with you guys, he would call and I wouldn't answer. And I'm like, listen, these are like, I haven't seen these people in months. And I would go and I say, I'd offer like, hey, do you want to meet them? No, I don't want to meet them. So it's like, so how do you not like somebody that you never even met?
Someone you never met, yeah.
You never met them. You never talked to them. You never seen a picture of them. You don't know. I'm like, listen, these people are all married people. And you know what the response I got was? Well, if they're all married, why are they talking to you? And I'm like, seriously?
You know what?
So
I think we probably know him. That's the reason why. Maybe
no, actually you don't.
You
But it
don't
was
know
but
just
that.
no, I know. Like I know.
She
But
said,
it was
man,
just a simple. I think honestly though, it's just like okay, so what? Because of my marital status, that determines what kind of friends I have in my life. And it's just like that's but then again,
hey,
but
I
then
see
that
the
goes
reason
to
why.
like that,
I,
huh?
I, I see the reason why he didn't want you to be around us.
you would want to
It's,
marry.
yeah,
You after a
What?
few months, you would want to marry him. That's why.
I would
it's,
not want to.
No, he felt like we were gonna
he's gonna
pressure him into marry you.
yeah, because you are
Oh,
man. So
Yeah,
he
if
thinks
you
that
guys are coming around as a couple and everybody else is married, now he gonna be like, oh, so I guess I have to get married too.
it's funny because he brought that up and was just like, oh, he did, but not that, but he brought up marriage, just like, hey, I would like to, what do you think about me and you get married next year? And I just was like, I don't know, okay, but again, I was hesitant because at the same time, it's like you have an issue with like the only people I really have in my corner. And it's like they're not bad people. They're hardworking, married people. And it's just like, what is there not to like? You know? And then eventually,
come on,
eventually, no, I'm only laughing because of what
spit
I
it,
said.
spit it, spit
So,
it
okay,
out.
I'm gonna spit it out. So I was like, what's the big deal? Like, what is really the big issue? And his explanation was, that my married friends' husbands may have a friend that's single and would say like, oh, there's this nice girl, you should come talk to her, she's single, she works, she goes to school, she take care of her kids, blah 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 blah, she's a great catch, and I don't want to lose you to that. And I said, oh, okay, well, the way you're acting is you're gonna lose me anyway. And then at the end of it all, I
Yep.
just said, like, because it got to the point now where he was making me decide, like, it's either me or your friends. And then I said, well, I'm gonna choose my friends because they're not
Yeah,
bad
you
people,
guys
and
barely
you don't want,
studied.
you don't want to meet them. So it's like, what, you're
Yeah.
already closing them off. He sort of kept saying like, oh, your friends are corrupt and all, and I'm like, you know what, like I was done with it. So then at the end of it, I just said, I said something I probably shouldn't have said. And I was like, well, you're wrong. It's not their friends. It's actually his nephew. And I just hung up the phone and I called it a day. And then that was it. And I was just like, because I'm done. I was like, no, it's not one of my married friends' husband, like one of my married friends' husband friend. No, it's one of my friend's husband's nephew. And I just, because I was done at that point, and that was it. So
no,
if you
but I
want
see why you have a different view on that question, because it's I see why.
But that was his take on it. But then at the same time, it's like I had said, this is why I had said, if you don't want me to do something, then kind of replace it with something that you're willing to do. If you don't want me talking, if you don't want me going out, like, let's do something together then. But that's the problem. I was being told to stay home, but I wasn't getting anything in return. It's just like, I want you to stay home. I want you in the house. If you're not going to school or work, you'll be in the house. And it's just like, really? But I'm not taking you anywhere. I'm not, spending any time with you. So it's just like, nah.
Not like he was coming over to watch a movie or nothing. It's just
right.
Make sure
just
you keep
stay
your ass
home. Stay home. Yeah. Stay home and go watch Netflix by yourself or with your kids kind of thing, and I'm just like, come on.
And the thing is that you guys were barely together, so why
right. It wasn't anything. It wasn't anything long term. So for you to act like that,
you imagine
in such a
married?
In such a short time, then God only knows how it would be. This is why I say you got to know your partner. Then it's like, if I saw that so soon, then I already know. I just was like, no. So that's why it was easy to kind of
sound like the type to beat your ass when you guys.
Man, and you know what, Jeff? You know what's funny, Jeff? I've actually been in a relationship where, like, I was hit on too. So it's like, that and to the end, I started fighting back. So now I just don't take no shit. So, it's just one of those things. Like, I've been through some things, but I mean, so like, as far as like the culture thing, I mean, all I could say is y'all are smooth. Y'all are smooth, that's all I could say.
It's dangerous too.
It is. You guys are something else, man. Now, like, so this was a question that I wanted to ask you guys. Because you guys are both with someone of the same culture as you, but doesn't it feel more like home because the person understands you, they understand your values, they understand, in all essence, the language, versus you being with someone like maybe even someone like me, because I don't even understand the language, or I may understand maybe the culture, like the cultural like mannerisms and behaviors and things like that, but like, doesn't it feel more like home because you're with someone who understands, who speaks it, who knows it, who breathes it, versus being someone of a different culture?
I don't think so.
It
does, but at the same time, it doesn't. If that makes sense.
Here's my take on that. Like, when I was growing up, especially with my mom, when she cooked meat,
of course, you're gonna think about your stomach. Of course, of course. You can tell he got excited when you said, "Look at him." you can tell he got excited just thinking about it, because all he when you say home, he's thinking about food, right?
That's the whole thing, though. That's the reason why I said that. I never see myself, married somebody different, because my little gratin. Yeah, I love that. You know what I mean? Like, especially when my wife, when she's cooking meat, like, oh man, like, whew, I like the smell on that. Like, I just couldn't see myself being around somebody else. Like, I couldn't see myself doing it, though.
so you only stay there just for the food.
It's not
Yo,
it's not for the
she
food
can
though.
throw down though. Her food is so good.
It's not for, like I told you before I even met my wife. I told her I never see myself dating like be like marrying anybody outside my culture. I couldn't see it happen. And now it's just the whole thing is it's like when she's cooking, like I like my little gratin, like that one I'm not. Eh, Yo,
You know the funny thing is, let's say this was just audio. I would have think he's fat. No, let's say I wasn't able to see him, I didn't know him, just listening to him talk about sound like a fat dude talking.
but
He's fat. He's fat on the inside,
He is,
Jeff.
man. He
His
sounds
soul,
fat
his
as
soul is fat.
nah, seriously, it's just like you said, when you're with your somebody on your culture, you feel like you feel at home. Like it's like when you were growing up, when the things that I see my mom used to do for my dad, and not exactly that, but it's just like that's part of this thing I've been seeing, and I always wanted to see myself on that spot. But I'm happy. I'm enjoying every bit of it right now. So I love it.
Mhm.
I would. I couldn't see myself with any other culture but my Haitian queen.
Me,
Nah.
I didn't think I was gonna end it up here. I don't know. I used to love me some white girls. That's just what it was. I used to love them snow bunnies, man.
I,
Mm-mm.
Back in the days.
I couldn't see it me laying in bed
You
with.
know, part of it is I feel like when I first got to this country, um, I feel like I can say they embrace me a lot more than my own, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way they made me feel, it was just they always, you know what I mean? They even when I didn't speak the language, they will try to understand what I'm saying. And then when my own people were like pushing me away, you know what I mean? They were,
Man,
I guess that play a part in it.
I mean, I've had that experience too, like with Hispanics. They love when you try to learn their language. And they're very
Hmm.
welcoming and very, oh, come in, come in, come in. But that's typical. That's how my family is too. Um, now I've seen it where it's true that, I've tried to like learn I've tried to learn Creole for a while. Like I asked my dad to teach me and he's like, no, I'm not going to teach you. Creole is not like a real language. It's a dialect. I'd rather teach you French. Then I had a Haitian friend in high school and I'm like, hey, teach me Creole. And he was like, no, I'm not teaching you Creole. He's like, you're too old now. But his mom would actually teach me. She was teaching me like the basics.
that was your
Um,
boyfriend.
no, that wasn't my boyfriend. That was just my friend.
Oh,
Yeah, we were just friends, and like I found out later on in life that he wanted something more, but we were really. I just looked at him as my friend. Like I looked at him like my brother.
that's
But he
messed up.
looked at me more like, yeah, I'm not trying to be your brother. But no, but yeah, so it's like I always wanted to, and then it's funny because even up to recently, like I tried to learn, and I think it all depends on the person too. They either would laugh at my attempt to try to speak it, or they'll be like, no, say it more like this, and then use more of your tongue and less of your lips or whatever, like when you're enunciating the words. So I think it all depends on the person too, because there's some out there who will like laugh and scoff at you, and then there are others like, no, 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 come, 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 So I think it depends on the person too, you know. But I don't know about the snow bunnies, Jeff. I'm happy you didn't end up with one. I'm so happy you
You say
didn't
you're
end up with.
happy?
I am happy. I don't know. I mean, honestly,
And you
at
wanna
this.
know
Go
there is
ahead.
this one there is this one Cuban girl I was talking to. She was so excited to teach me
Spanish.
Spanish so I can meet her mom. Like it was, that kind of feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When someone wants you to be part of, it was
yeah,
just, and I didn't get that from
yeah.
the Haitian girls I was around. It was, I don't know.
It could
I
be.
felt
It could
like
be the
that's
person.
why.
It could be the
Yeah,
person too. You know, it could be
yeah.
the person. But I mean, we'll see where it goes. I mean, I don't. You know, I'm not. I don't know. Like, I'm just at the point now where I want to settle down. I don't want to like. I don't. It's not my thing. It was never my thing. Going out was not my thing. I'm more of a homebody. I'd like to sit down and cook and clean, and that's what I like to do. I like to be. I like to be a mom. I like to be everything that I'm doing. I like to do it. I just want to have someone to do it with, and it's just one of those things. Like, um, at this point, I probably would entertain someone outside of my culture now because, things are a little different for me now. You know, I I mean, there's things that I haven't or there's cultures that I haven't tried, but I'm just at a point now as long as they treat me right and they could be loyal and faithful and all the things that I am to them, if they can be that for me, at this point in my life, I don't care what they are.
You just want to be happy.
Yeah.
No, that's
So
good.
although but I don't think I would do Black American, but I don't, like you said, you didn't see yourself here, Jeff, and I don't know where my life will take me. So I
Nah,
know Luna's. So it's like you have one who knew he wouldn't date anything but, then you had one who didn't know where they end up, and then you have me who's more like I am. I'm open to whatever, just as long as just as long as they treat
and
you right.
that's how I was, but just open.
You
Yeah,
know
but
And but
I'm not gonna. But if I had to choose, I mean, I want my children to see, I would prefer them see me with someone Black, but then I also want them to see me happy and treated right. I think that matters to me more than the color or the culture, you know? So,
it's just funny for me though. Every time I see like especially for a woman, like every time I see a black woman with a white man, that kind of rub me the wrong way.
racist.
that's how I feel about Jefferson with his snow bunny comment. It
Oh, you
really
Yeah,
does. Um,
why?
It
I mean,
just, I'll be honest. The way I look at it is, and it almost makes me sound like a hypocrite, but I just feel as though there are so many good Black women out there. I don't know about Black American. I just know that's why I think when we talk about culture, I mean, it's a lot different because culturally, there's a lot of good women out there
really?
that are Black. But I honestly think that society has them overlooking the Black woman. Talk to your Spanish, talk to your white, talk to your European, talk to your Russian, talk to your Japanese, your Chinese. Like it's always the Black women who are always at the bottom of the poll. They're the ones who get treated like the worst statistically, and they're the ones that get overlooked, and I just, that's why when I dated the Hispanic guy that I dated, he loved Black women. And that was like one of my first questions, like, do you have a type? You know? And he's just like, I just love Black women. So it's just one of those things that, but Lunes, I know the feeling because I feel the same way when I see a Black man with a white woman. I really do. It gets under my skin because here you have someone like myself who wants, everything under the sun and they're giving it. And it's not that I'm not capable or that I just wasn't ready. It's like they will give it to someone of the opposite race who probably
But
doesn't even clean their meat for someone else. That's just wild to me.
But
So
why? Just because you think, okay, so you believe people have type?
no, some people do have a type.
Okay, what if
Mm.
what if he or she's not just not attracted to
But
her.
like what about the type do you like? Like this is how I look at it. Like you can have a type, right? But why do you like a type? Typically it's what you've been exposed to. That's typically either it's either going to make you lean in more towards your type or the type, what you've been exposed to, or it's going to draw you away from it. Maybe you grew up and saw Haitian women being treated a certain way. Maybe you grew up and saw white women being glorified in a different way. And maybe you wanted to be glorified, so you went toward the whites. But if you grew up around a bunch of Haitians, then why would you want to seek anything outside of that unless you had bad experiences with the Haitian women you've dealt with? So it's like, why do you not want, why do people have a type? I grew up around a mixture of everything. Like I grew up in like a predominantly white environment. I went to predominantly white schools. But then I went to black high schools and black middle schools. And that's where you start getting your sense of feeling. And then, if you look on my feed right now, it's black men, but with a couple whites. But the black men, it's just like, my God, like there's just something about them that I'm just like, damn, So I just think that we carry this kind of, I don't know, I just this charisma and the way we just, what my son calls it, majestic. We're just
Let me guess.
majestic,
You only like black
and
women.
and it's just one of those things that you can't pay for that. The white women are paying for everything that a black woman has, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be black. The
You know,
Yeah,
to,
BBL, the lips, you know what I'm saying? The hips, the body, everything. I mean, some of them do start having it genetically, but I just think, why do you have a type? You have a type for a reason, and it's something you were exposed to once upon a time.
mm,
that
Maybe
just means if
unconsciously.
if I were to be single and I'm talking to somebody, if that person say, right, I used to date a white dude, I'll cut it off right away. I wouldn't.
Mm,
wait, so
yeah.
let's say your wife said she been with a white man. That's an issue.
Hey, if she told me that right now, that's a problem right there.
Oh
What?
shit. You divorced her, Ludes?
Yeah, it's a problem because she told me she'd never. I mean, I asked. I wouldn't. I
Oh
wouldn't.
wow.
I would. I wouldn't. I
So
wouldn't do
that's
that.
what they call. So that's a red flag to you.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. I. I. I just don't see me with anybody's that been around a white man. Dude. You remember last time you and we were talking, and I told you that how I feel about the whole, racial thing. Like I can, you know, it's
Okay,
tough,
but
man.
doesn't that make you a racist?
It's just a preference.
But that's okay. Your wife's preference have nothing at the point of time have nothing to do with your preference, does
No,
it?
I'm just speaking for myself how I feel about it.
Okay, let's say she was with one before you. Why is that a problem? That was her preference back then,
Like my
not anymore.
like I said, if she didn't tell me anything about it, that's a problem. But if she did tell me that right when we was started talking, and she said, "Hey, yeah, I used to date him right," I was just, "Hey, I'm not. I'm gonna cut it off. That's
Mm.
her.
But that was in her past though.
I don't care. I'm
But
just.
that's what I'm saying. Doesn't if you take it that to that extreme, doesn't that make you a racist?
I don't think it's a racist.
I think
How?
the way I look at racist is someone who has
I don't have any issue with
passionate
white people.
a
I
passionate
wouldn't.
hate and dislike for another race. And I don't think Lunas is that. I think he's just strong on his, I don't want my woman or anybody that I'm talking to possibly be entertained by someone of the opposite race. I don't think that necessarily means to makes him racist because he's not saying he hates them. I think what
I
makes
don't.
people racist is the hate word. That word right there, that despise, that dislike, that I think that's what makes someone racist. Now he just has a preference, but I wouldn't call him racist because of it.
Hmm. Well, so
Like, I'll give you an example. So I was talking to one of my classmates. She is from Romania, and she was talking to me one day, and she was telling me that she always wanted to have sex with a black guy. So she told me, Liz, if you find a black guy or if you know a black guy, I just want to have the experience, right? She's like, oh, I
Mm.
heard their things
Starting up
are
too
this.
late now.
She's older lady, but
Yeah.
she's like in her 50s. Anyway, so the thing that she said to me that made me look at her differently is because she said, um, I want a light skinned black, not dark skin. And I'm like, I kind of looked at her funny, like, seriously? How are you going to put a preference on a race for something that you're trying to have a sexual encounter on? And honestly, she didn't say it with hate, but I kind of looked at her like she was somewhat racist because it's
No,
like, how can you fantasize over someone that you want to have, an encounter with, but then you're trying to be specific with the type of, it's just like black is black is black.
yeah,
You
but
So
know,
what
there-
if that's her preference though?
your answer on that should be like, well, the darker they are, the longer
Uh,
that thing is.
Luna, it's so funny because I can't really speak to that. So I didn't say anything. I just was just like, yeah, okay. I just told like, yeah, okay, I'll find one for you. And
no,
then
but
when I
the thing
walked off,
is,
I was like, I ain't finding you shit.
if you're gonna go black, go full black. Just
That's what
don't
I'm saying. If
play
you're
with
gonna
it.
do it right, right? But that's the thing that I don't understand because it's like you never had an encounter. You're in your 50s now. So you can't sit there and say you have a preference because if you had a preference, you would probably already had that encounter before meeting me.
True.
And then now that you met me, I'm the closest thing that you have to getting
Yeah.
access to the black community. And now you're telling me you want someone light skinned. No, that's not a preference. That's more like
So
that's an encounter. She wants to have an experience. And it's just like, listen, we're not out here selling experiences, okay? Like, you either want us or you don't want us. And if you don't want us, then go be with who you want. So that's just me. So, but like, yeah, I mean,
It's not.
I,
It's not a bad being racist, Gibson. It's just. I could.
he
I
just
no,
got a
just.
but
preference.
I felt like I get it, but at the same time, I felt like that was her preference at a period of time, and now
It's okay. It's okay, but I'm just not gonna be a part of it. That's what I'm saying.
but you're
Mm.
not a part of it. She's not with.
It's in the past. But I
Yeah,
I
think
don't. I'm just
Luna's
not.
look at it
so
like she's been contaminated.
that's basically what it is. That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is, and it's
Yeah.
not that though.
Luna
It
said,
just.
what? You're with
It,
someone? You're with a blanc? No.
no. If it's a black dude or whatever, I don't care. But like somebody, no.
I can kind of see where he's coming at. Well, for me now, I'll tell you, like, if I met a guy and and it was getting serious. See, certain things I don't like. I used to be that person who had all these questions. And then I realized, Liz, you're not probably not ready for the answer to some of those questions. So I don't ask them anymore. But I kind of did my research and I was just like, hey, do you have a type? And I was just like, they were like, no type. But the thing is, when you use the word I don't have a type, I wasn't talking about like culturally. Well, I kind of was, but I wasn't. I was talking more like physical. Like, do you like someone who's thicker? Do you like someone who's slim? Do you like someone who's heavy set? Do you like a BBW? Do you like BBLs? What do you like? But anyway, if I were to date a guy who I know was like all across the board, like he would talk to and entertain any and everybody, I would probably feel somewhat insecure because it's almost like, when you have a certain type, you're only competing against that group or that category of people. But when you are talking to someone who will talk to anybody, it's almost like it's you against all the other women in the world because there's no criteria for anybody to fall into because they'll talk to anyone. That's how I look at it. I don't know if Lunas looks at it that way, but me, that's how I would look at it. So if I was to date a guy and he's like, hey, I don't really have a type, this girl could get it, that girl, anybody could get it, then it's just like, damn, Like it would make me question, well, what would make me so different? What would make me so special? Because you'll talk to anything.
Yeah, just
So
when you have more choices, you have it's more difficult for you to decide.
right,
Me, I
right.
don't, especially back then, I don't look at it as race. I don't look at it as she's white, she's black, she's Hispanic, she's this, she's that. It was more, do we have a connection? Can we vibe with each other? If I can have that feeling, yeah. Because some people, it might be a nice person, and then you try to talk to that person, and there is no emotion, there is no connection. Someone like that probably wouldn't be someone I talk to. But if I'm
Yep.
talking to him, we can have a conversation. You because sometimes when you're talking to someone, you can just feel it.
Yeah.
And
And some people is just
I definitely understand what
nothing.
you're saying. That it's just the fact that me personally, I just don't see me like my wife is to date a white dude.
Mm.
Yo,
He really take it serious. Like,
I'm not joking though. I'm dead that serious. I'm not. It's not. I,
so what
yo,
about what if he's Latino?
I don't care. I just don't want to be no.
He have to be black.
Yeah.
I'll tell
Oh
you
man.
what. I dated a guy who was Latino and black. He looked more black than Latino. And I'll tell you what, I would never do that shit again. I'll tell you that right now. I would not. That was some crazy shit. They have a different they're just different, okay? They he looked black but was raised by his Hispanic grandparents. And man, in the Hispanic household. And I think that's why sometimes the women are crazy too, because the men are freaking nuts. They're very controlling. You can't have an opinion. They tell you what to do, and it's like, okay, yes, but, and that's where I think the cultural thing came. And that was at that time, I was just like, yeah, I could see why I've never dated outside of my race. And now that I have, I can sit here and honestly say, like, okay, I'm not doing it. And I think that's why a lot of black men like, well, not all, but some like Hispanic women or white women because culturally, from a cultural background, they, as in those types of women, they don't talk back. They're very submissive. It's whatever the husband says they do, and they do and do and do. And some men like that. They like when they tell their woman what to do and she does it. Some men like when, like, oh, I like that she has an opinion. I know she's not a pushover. But that's why some of them, they are the way that they are. And then for a man who probably feels emasculated, or, again, it goes back to their upbringing. That's probably why they're so sensitive about certain things, because maybe because of how they were raised. And then they come around this woman who makes them feel like a man. It's like, oh, papi, I like, and like, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever. And it's just like, hold on, wait a minute. I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll suck your dick, I'll fuck you this way, this. And it's just one of those things, like, and it makes a man feel like a man. But then on the other hand, it's like, but wait a minute. What about me? But then the black women, we like to talk back sometimes. And some men like that because it's like, it shows me that she's not a pushover. Someone's not going to come over and take advantage of her because she's going to speak up for herself. She's not going to lay down and, take it quietly. So it's all about preference too. But I noticed that when you have a woman that is very outspoken and very opinionated and just doesn't, she can become submissive, but she has to feel safe with her partner before she does that. He has to create a place for her to be vulnerable and to be, submissive in order for him to get that submissive and soft side. So,
So
and I think culturally, like, based off of what I have experienced, it's like, you know, I want to be in that kind of soft girl era.
um,
So,
so let me ask you guys this question. Like, what do you guys think that, especially like the ball players, um, thing outside there was like, You guys have anything on that?
Repeat
There's
that.
so much on it. Like the only person I can think of that really grinds my gears is
What was
and
the
it's like
question?
he was talking about like athletes who
Mhm.
are with these women who are not black.
Uh,
I personally do not like to see I don't like to see I love to see black love. Like if I could push it, I would push it. You know what I'm saying? If I would say like I feel as, you have your race, stick to your race. But, I like to see black love more than anything else.
Yeah,
You
we didn't
know,
talk. We didn't.
if I had to I love black people being to I just it just means something to me. It's
Yeah,
just like, okay, it is possible. It means more to me than any other race, getting together. Like white people, okay, whatever, it's white people. But like to see two black people come together despite all the adversity, the obstacles, and then they can still see and find beauty in each other when the world tries to tear them down and tear them apart. I love that. Like I truly in my heart of hearts, if I had a preference, I'd want my husband to be black. But I'm
we
at a
didn't.
point now, like, God, whoever you put in my life, like, just make sure that they love me and love my kids.
well,
Hey,
me,
Liz,
it's
So,
Liz,
more.
we didn't to call Dr. Omar.
huh? What do you say?
We didn't to call Dr. Omar.
Dr. Omar, who's that?
Have you ever heard
It's
about that
not
guy?
what's his name? It's not Omar. It's
Is it Omar?
Doctor. I think Umar. I
Omar?
think
Who is that?
he's a he's a pro black.
He's this he
He have
against
a
like
saying. He
Oh,
have a
he's just black
saying.
everything.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he have a saying. Damn, what is it?
He really against that and
The
that
interracial. I don't care
Yeah,
for it,
but that's the
but
thing though. That's a lot more common nowadays.
it is, and it's becoming more and more. And I think at first, I think people just stuck to their own because of, well, not cultural, but like political and societal things that were going on, like the racism, the segregation, the lynching, So it's almost like blacks feared whites because of that superiority complex and the Ku Klux Klan and all those things that come with it. The slave ownership, all that. And it's just like now, it's like everybody's like okay with it, and in my mind it's just like seriously, like really, that shouldn't be okay. That for me, that's not okay. But it's just something that you kind of have to. It's just like I accept it as that's what it is, but I don't accept it into my heart. Like, hey, I am. I'm taking in what you guys are doing, and I'm in total support of it. No, it's just like I see it. I see that it's there, but it's not like, oh, like I have 3 black sons, and it's one of those things like if one of them bring home a girl, I'm like, like I'm
You hoping
not,
it's black. You hoping she's black.
yeah. And if she's not, it's just like, I won't have much to say.
Yeah, Doctor Umar saying is black queens forever, snow bunnies never.
I support that 100%.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
nice to see. It's nice to see like, I like to see black people celebrated and acknowledged and recognized and, in love. Like I'm like a
don't
hopeless romantic.
yeah,
So
but don't you think you should be with who you love and who
that
loves
is
you?
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with
yeah.
that.
I won't give up on that. But if I had to choose, I would choose my own before I choose outside of my own.
Yeah, but if you're looking for love, you shouldn't be looking at that.
Right. Which is why I said, like, if, at the end of the day, like, whoever God puts in my life, I just want it to be just that God put them there. You know what I mean? But, you know, I can't go and say, God, it's your daughter here. I want a husband. Just make sure he's black. Because then God will send me a black husband or send a black guy in my life who may be abusive, who may be controlling, who may not even love me.
Hey, just say
So
all those in the prayer, just like you ask for black, ask for these things too. Like that's the
I'm
thing with women. You guys sometimes I feel like you guys don't look at the small details and then blame the other party.
You know, it's funny because I do, and I think that's the problem. I do look at the small details, and I think I overanalyze the small details. But it's the little things that there's the little things that I appreciate. Like those are the things that I appreciate because, like, you spending time with my son, like. I appreciate those things. You bring in flowers. I appreciate like those things. Those things have me like, aw, like have me all giddy and soft hearted because it's more to it. Like I was explaining to Judette one time, like it's not about the flowers. It was about, I said, regardless of what the intention was, whether it was to woo me or to smooth me over, at the end of the day, someone went out of their way, to go pick up flowers, thought of me in the fact that they were picking up flowers, made a conscious attempt, went to the checkout, paid for it, drove it over to my house and brought it to me. That means more to me than you calling up your local florist and having them deliver it to the house. So like those little details, and that's where I kind of softened, and I was just like, I love that type of stuff because it's those small little details that I see, like you cleaning out my car, or you helping me bring groceries in the house, or you washing the dishes, or like those things I look at, and it makes me feel softened because one, you're showing me that it's not a role specific duty. It's like something that you did to lighten my load. So it doesn't matter what race does that, but I do want, like I said, I want my kids to see their mother with someone Black, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not in control of, I'm not in total
Love.
control of who God brings into my life.
No, because if
Like,
you
like, yeah, like who I'm talking to, I didn't think I'm not gonna say a million years, but I would have never thought because I just would have never thought. It's just one of those things. Like, you just don't know who's gonna come into your life, when they're gonna come into your life. And I'm at a point where I just embrace it, but
So,
um
so, so, so right now you open for any race right now? Is that what you're saying?
um I have a preference, um but where I am right now, I'm not looking. I would just receive whatever comes my. But then again, I guess I kind of do have a preference because I was just talking to someone white, and it never advanced past that. So it's just like, and
Yes,
that could
but
have been
that's what I was saying. Like if you don't get that feeling, and at the same time you could have been talking to him and you guys have that connection, and something ended up happening.
right. But
What,
for
what,
some
what,
reason, it never went there. Like
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Like the conversation was great. Like we could sit there and talk for hours. One time that's happened, and the conversation was good. The same, same interests and hobbies. They were a little different, but overall, everything else, the conversation, the music, the sitting down talking, like that could go on for almost half a day if we allowed it. But then when it came down to that physical art, and it's not that he was unattractive. The thing is, though, he had a thing for Black women. He loved Black women, Black or like mixed race, but they
I mean,
had to be mixed with Black. But it just, even I didn't find him unattractive. He wasn't an ugly individual.
hmm.
He's
I'm glad
actually a
you.
good looking guy, but I just couldn't see that going. It's like, yeah, we could talk and hang out and have coffee and all that, but once it gets intimate, it's just like, ooh, I don't know.
I know, right? See them,
Why?
kiss the, ugh.
I didn't even. That's the thing. I never even kissed the person. It was just platonic. That's all it was just talking, like literally just talking.
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of find that kind of gross.
Hmm.
I kind of find that kind of.
Oh my god.
What? Say it, Lunez. Spill it like you made me spill it.
No, but I
What
don't
did
know
he
why
say?
you so strongly feel that way, but
Oh,
he's just disgusted about the whole idea of a black
Yeah,
woman with a white man.
it's just
He felt
I just feel
disgusted. I don't know why
it
would.
is.
So
hey,
do you
Lunas,
feel
have you
some?
ever thought? Have you ever thought the same way you look at your beautiful black queens, or is the same way that there are white men, Spanish men, Chinese men, all these different type of cultures that look at black women the same way?
I don't think so.
You don't think
Mhm.
so? So let's say a white woman ends up marrying a black woman. Do you think he's doing it for? You don't think he actually love her?
You said white woman and black woman, Jep. Is that what you meant to say?
No, no, black woman and white man.
What do you
Do you
I
feel like
just,
I'm saying like since you feel that they can never look at it the same way we look at them, do you feel like let's say a white woman marry a black woman, do you think he doesn't really love her?
oh, can you say that again? It's some like you mean? Do
Okay,
you get what you said, please?
do you think let's say a white man, right,
Mm-hmm.
married a black woman,
Mm-hmm.
since you think they can't look at them the same way we look at them, do you feel like he doesn't really love her or he's not capable of loving her the way we do?
Um, he might love her, but it's just the thing is that like for me, or like I said, man, I just kind of find that disgusting. You know, I'm
But if he loves her,
just
why would that be disgusting if he can offer her the same level of love that you can?
I don't think he can
Why not?
because we are
You
not
don't
the
think
same.
love is love?
It depends who's receiving, who's giving a love.
What you mean who's giving it? It doesn't matter who's giving it. If that
No,
person is giving love and
so
that person who's receiving it is happy
let
with
me.
it.
I'm gonna elaborate. So, and let's just say, Liz, for
No.
instance, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm giving you a love, and somebody else giving you love. Those two love, they're different. You might prefer one of them more than the other one. So not every, just like you have your kids right now, right? The love that they're giving you, they're not the same. You don't expect the same love from a
Right.
similar part. You can't, you know.
Exactly. But that the same way, you're making my point because the if she chooses to stay with that man is because she's receiving the kind of love that she wants.
I get what you're saying. Like I said, I don't have, that's her choice. So I don't have a problem with this. She just chose, like, that's her
Okay, but
preference.
you say he's not
That's
capable of
just,
loving her the same way that
A black.
we do. A
Yeah.
black man would.
I'm pretty sure deep down it's not.
What you mean deep down? It's
I just don't
okay.
see.
Liz, let me ask you this. So let's say you ended up with a white man. He loves you. You're happy. You have everything you want. Do you feel like deep down would you feel like it's not enough since he's not
No.
black, or would
Um,
you be content? Would you be happy?
if he's giving me everything that I want,
Everything that you would want from a black man, you getting it from him. He loves you. You get all the things that you want. Would you be sitting there thinking, "Oh, deep down, he's white. I don't really love him."
Tell me this. Tell me you won't
No,
feel
be honest.
comfortable. Say you won't feel comfortable. Be around her.
it, it will
Just tell
be.
her.
It would. Okay. If he see, that's the thing. Like I'm a hopeless romantic. Remember what I told you. If there's anything else, I want my kids to see me with someone black, but most importantly, I want them to see me with someone who treats me right so that they can do those things to their partner when they grow up and become young men. So, to answer the question, um if he's giving me everything that I want, I will I will accept it. And I can't sit here and say that I would love him any less because he's white. But I probably, depending on the dynamic of how we met and our relationship, then I probably would look at it like, man, who would have thought that I'd be with a white guy, but he treats me so good? Who would have thought that I would be with this person, but they treat me so good? You
No,
know, and some,
but would you
but
feel
I'm
like
gonna
it's
be
not
honest, like
capable of it?
not all guys, but like the share that I've had, like I'm not gonna lie, they kind of dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? And they were black. So it's like, you know, but not all of them. But it's just like now it's just like, oh, okay, men can buy flowers, men can take you out, men, and it's just like I would lean into that more than anything. Like some people can sit there and say I had a type, and it's like I never really had. I had a type when it came to like black men. I never really looked at white men. You know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of hard. Like I don't know, but you know, based off of my experiences too, like some black men don't treat black women right either. So, you know, so it's
Like,
almost like, you know,
His,
So what would
his,
be more? Hold on
Jason,
here. Well,
his the other thing though. The burden that you're gonna live with, but it's like, like for instance, like right, this you with the white man, and you walk around with him, right? People are gonna look at you, be like, you
who
people. No, I'm not.
cares?
I'm not. Listen. I mean, you can be with your person. Like, who care about people, right? That's something that you're gonna live with.
right.
You know what I
And you
mean?
know, it's
Your
funny. I
kids.
think that more people are, I think for women, like, they're always going to get attention from the other person. So from the other race. Sorry, the other sex. Same race, opposite sex. For example, if I saw a white woman with a black guy right now, I'll be honest, I'd be giving him and her nasty looks because I don't like to see that. If I see
I don't
or
really care about that part.
or
See,
if
that's
you see
the
or
This is I know this is
if
really
you
dumb
see
to
a
say.
white woman with a black man, the black women are going to be giving them evil looks. If you see a white man with a black woman, the black men will be looking at the black woman and the white man funny. You know, because
Yeah.
especially if she's like a baddie, you know, like they'll probably be like, how the fuck he got her? Or, you know, whatever. Oh, I could do this better and I could, you know, and it's just one of those things like, well, can you though? I don't know. I've never experienced, you know, I have had people that I know who did sleep with a white guy. And I did ask, I was like, how was it? She said that they are more passionate. That's all that was said. But then I said, well, did you kiss him? Like, would you kiss him with? Like, they
Yeah.
don't got no lips.
what?
You
Oh
know,
my!
but it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, that's just me, you know, but
Like
it's
a
just
little
one of those things like, I don't
like a
know if
little like
I
a
don't think
monkey
the,
looks, right?
I don't think the color of their skin really matters to how deeply they can love you. But I do know that maybe they'll show it differently because of, you know, cultural views and differences. Like, you know, but I don't know. Like
Because
I
at the
think
end of the day, love is love. If the two people, whether they're white, black, no matter what color their skin is, if they love each other, they love each other.
that's
I mean,
true too.
I respect that.
So, what do you think would be more important for your kids? See you with someone who's black, or see you with
I
someone who makes you happy?
I
I
already
would I
said
would
that.
put
Like
that
it's not even about because look, sometimes I can think that I'm with someone who makes me happy, but they're doing the bare minimum. That's why I rephrased it and said like I want them to see me being treated right. That is what like I want them to see me with someone black, but I want them to more see me with someone who treats me right so that they have an example that they can copy when they grow up and meet their person and treat her right.
But would you feel
That's
some type of way if they bring home a white girl?
I'm not gonna lie, I would. I'll be honest, I would. Um, but it's just one of those things like, hey, I'm not gonna sit there and try to sabotage their relationship either.
Mm-mm.
You know, I'm not gonna. I've gone through that already, and it's
So,
not fun. So I wouldn't inflict that pain and burden onto my children. If that's who they chose, that's who they chose, and
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
gotta
here to
respect that.
intervene. Yeah, I will. But if the person, regardless of how they treat them, if they're full of shit and being disrespectful, they don't respect me, they don't respect him, or like, no, it's absolute no. I don't care what race you are, but I'd probably be more aggressive to the whites, because it's just like, I think culturally there's just something you just don't do. Like my son, he's dating some girl, she's Haitian and Dominican. So it's like, okay, I could get with that. So I looked, I was like, let me see a picture. And she was black. And don't get me wrong, like, I was giving them high fives, like, that's how you do it, Jason. Like, that's how you do it. And then, I asked Chris, and then Chris is there, and he's, he has crushes. He's not talking to anyone. And he gave me his thing. And then I was like, okay, but Chris is pro-black. He's like who you said, Dr. Umar. Chris is like that. He is just like, he's like a Lunez, like black on black on black on black on black. That's it. And Grayson, I don't know. He's still young.
He looks like the white girl type.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where he was having a talk with someone, and they're like, whoa, no, you need to bring home somebody black. Like, what happened? You don't like seasoning? You don't, because he has a crush on a girl, but he's young still, so it's just one of those things. He's like, wait, you don't love your mom? It turned into like, you don't love your mom's black, or who's gonna season your food, Yeah, it was, and I was just like, he has a point. He had a really valid point when he was explaining it to him, and I just thought, I liked. I'm not gonna lie, like when Grayson was being talked to about that, it made me feel good inside to know that someone is encouraging him to stay within his race. I'll be honest, like that gave me a joy that no other race or culture could give, honestly speaking. So to hear like, someone say like, no, you need to bring home somebody black. But they did it so gently and not forcefully, that it was just one of those things. Like, it felt good to know, like, hey, someone is encouraging him to stay within his race, at least, then maybe we can work on culture. But it was refreshing, and it felt really good, to be honest, to know that, someone's there pushing him to don't go out there, stay within your circle of, of likeness. And
you know what kills that for me one day? I was talking to, what kills it for me? I was talking to this one white girl one time, and I think I told a few of my friends that we started talking, and probably we went on our first date. We actually went out, so we started talking, and then I said something about Snoop Dogg. She asked me, "Who's that?" That was the last time I talked to her too. That was the last time.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's just certain, but then you could probably meet a black girl too who's not, who's not cultured like that as well. But I think once you can find a classy, woman within your culture, because you're gonna have the ratchet and the classless, and then you're gonna have the classy. The ones who can hold a conversation and the ones who can't. The ones who can talk about money and finances and stocks and bonds and index funds and all that. And then you find some who can't. But it all matters on how they carry themselves too. If they carry themselves in a classless manner, then it makes them less appealing. But if you can meet someone who's smart, can hold conversation, respects their culture from where they came from, their roots, their heritage, and all the things that make them who they are, and they have the same values and beliefs as you, I think that's a plus. And if you're with a man who can, or if I'm with a man who can have those same views, I think it's a win. I don't, the compatibility, and I think all those things kind of come with the understanding, and I think those things kind of come with the culture too. So
I guess this, I don't even have to ask Gibson a question, man, because I know what the answer will be. So
I mean, he ended up marrying one. So all that shit he talking about,
No.
I dated with this and that. It's just like, okay, but look who you ended up with, though.
But that's what I was saying. Like I told you that I wasn't really looking at it as skin color or as black and white. I was looking for love, and
so basically, the question that I wanted to ask you is that so you'll be okay with Mateo to come home with anybody. I mean, not that, like I know
When it
that's
comes
his
to
choice, right?
when
I
it
know this
okay,
is.
that's what when it comes to your kids, I would say it's not whether you'll be okay with it or not. You'll just gonna whatever they bring home. If it's real love, you'll just have to accept it.
So what I'm saying, would you have a preference? I mean, I mean, of course, you're not the one's gonna
I
choose for
wouldn't
him.
say because
You feel like,
I'm not. He's not me, and I'm not him. I don't have a preference for him. Whatever he feel like he wanna lean towards. I want it to be a woman, of course. That's all I'm
yeah.
boy about. That's it. I'm
Yeah,
no, not to be,
I get it.
homophobic or
It's
nothing, but
true.
that's the only thing that I'm really, whether
I
she's
mean,
white, black, Latino, that
I get
as
it,
long as
but
it's a woman, that's all I
I
am.
wish I, I wish I, I wish I could, choose for them for mine, but
No, but
unfortunately,
why
I
would
don't
you
be.
want to do that though? Your parents didn't choose for you.
Yeah, but they didn't. But I'm just saying, like, I think they happy where I'm at.
Okay, then let them make their choice and just be happy where they at.
I don't know if I can. We'll
What
see
you
what
mean you don't know
happens.
if you, but it's their life though. It's
I
the same
understand
way
that.
your parents
That's what I'm saying.
allow
I
you.
can't. That's the. Of course, they can do whatever they want, but like I just like I said, it's my preference. Like I can say I don't like something. Is that the problem though? For me not to like something,
No, I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. It's just whatever they choose, just you have to be
I
happy.
I don't have a problem with it. But I'm just saying I can. There's something you can be okay with, but you know, I just
He
I
like
like
what
it.
he like what he likes.
Let's put it that way. But yeah, yeah, be around like you said from the beginning of your statement, please. It's like be with your own people. You really feel like home. This is
Yeah,
fact.
it does. There's certain things that other people of other cultures just won't understand.
So let me ask you guys this. Let's say I was with a white girl, right? Would you guys not want to come around me?
I'll be honest. If you were with a white, I was gonna say if you were with a white girl, I wouldn't know you, but I still would know you because I know you
Yeah,
3 years.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't
Um,
you wanna come
I
around
don't
me?
know.
I'd come
I,
around you, but it won't be as often as it is now. But
I
then
feel like
again, I mean, I don't,
I
I
feel
don't, I don't know.
I feel like once you're dating outside your race, you basically lose your identity. Though.
I'm not,
That's
Luna,
I
that is
don't think
actually a good
so.
point. I have seen a lot of black men who date outside of their race, culture, whatever, and they lose who they are. They really
Like what?
truly do. It's almost as if they don't even acknowledge the family that they had before they met this person. I'll
No.
be honest. I know it doesn't happen like all the time, but I've seen it. And it's almost like, and the comment is the same. Oh, he changed ever since he got with that white girl.
I can
You know?
rely. I can rely more on that one. It's just the fact, man. Because here's the thing, though. You see, like right now, my girl, like my family, they can come over and hang out and with me, right? It's just because of my girl, she's Haitian and she's, But let's just say that if I were dating a white girl, and first of all, my mom doesn't speak English, and my mom, she won't be able to communicate with her. And now some of my family, they won't come over,
So
and
how
they
is
wouldn't
that how
feel.
would that play with someone like me who has the blood but not the communication?
But you try, and then of course, like here's this is the other thing though. They can relate to you by this, you know what I mean, by
Oh,
just
as far as
seeing
like looks.
the looks. Yeah, exactly. So of course, let's just say that I left my mom at the house with you. She'll be okay with it, regardless if you guys can't talk or not. But leave her at my house with a white girl. Nah, either that's what I'm saying. Like, how would your mom feel about that? I know you're saying. It's just be honest.
My mom, she wouldn't care. She really
You
wouldn't.
think? You think so,
She,
Jeb?
she
Are you?
wouldn't
Do
care.
you know for sure, or you're just
She
saying
wouldn't
that?
care. She wouldn't care. I, as long as I'm happy, she wouldn't care.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, there are certain things that automatically
And
by
my dad, 100%, he would embrace that. He wouldn't
yeah,
care.
I don't think so. But
Nah, he would. He really would.
if you said so, but I don't think so. But like I said, though, it's just real talk, man. I feel like once you do that dating outside your race,
I
man,
don't
you
think
will
you do.
automatically you do.
I don't think you do.
Yeah.
You can, but I don't think it's something that automatically happen. You can, but that's not something that happened just because
Here's
you
the
went
other
that
thing.
route.
Here's the other thing that even your own language, you might not be able to speak that properly
That's
anymore.
not true. Most of the
It's
time, most of the
because
time, you
you've been
are
you've been
no.
swallow the
You know the crazy thing is, every white girl I've actually been trying to talk to, they want me to speak my language. They wanna learn it.
Because they want to do it like they do everything else. They want to,
They-
and this is where sometimes I get conflicted because they will try to learn it to rob us of it. For example, look at the like you see some white women with dreadlocks. They want to take it and they want to make it their own. Locks was something that started with
Oh,
the
man.
black people, and then they took it. They wanted to make it their own and call it dreads. They're not dreads, they're locks because of the way that the hair locks into each other. But they're going to turn around and rename it. Just like how like fried chicken. Fried chicken was a black thing. And then who tried to take it over? The Koreans and the Chinese. They tried to take ownership of it because so that's it's sometimes I feel like they learn it so that they can take it and sit there and say they own it now or they know it, and then they could turn around and twist it and whitewash it to what they wanted to believe. Like look at Christopher Columbus. When I was growing up in school over here, they talked about how Christopher Columbus was this great person and how he did this and how he did that, but they never, and he was a white guy, but they didn't go back. It's up until now that they're saying that this guy was a rapist. He killed a lot of people. He brought over diseases and he whitewashed everything and then took everything from the Native Americans. And if you look at Native American people, they have more color than a white person. And then they try to whitewash it into society and then they'll have your sons and daughters not knowing where they came from. They're not going to sit there and say that they brought all these black people from their homeland of Africa and took them here, took them there, dropped them off on different places of the Caribbean, and then turn around and turn them into slaves in America. So it's like they take something that's not theirs, the land, the people, the culture, the music, and then they try to make it their own and sit there and say like, oh, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. So it's like, I think that could probably even be the reason why I never even laid down with that white guy, because it's like, what, you trying to take the little bit that I have? Like, this is for my black, all of this is for my black men. But then at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things like I get kind of passionate about, but it's just like, it can happen, but I don't know if if it's supposed to happen,
Listen, I had that conversation with Gibson, right? I told him that, man, even we as the black people here, especially here in America, I mean, especially in the Caribbean, right? We don't even know what our last name is.
Yeah.
Our will last name. We don't even know what our will last name is. I told him that they just gave us a last name. That's not our last name.
Yeah.
So it's just like everything you had, and they took it away from you, and then give you something else.
That's why, like, I like to learn more Creole. I'm pretty sure, Lunez, when I text you, you're just like, oh, she can speak, she can type it.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, and I.
So can you? We thought it was Google Translate.
No, that was actually me. I told you, like, I want to learn, but just like how you said, sometimes when you came to this country, like they weren't some Haitian people were not very welcoming. There are some Haitian people who just don't want to teach. They don't want to sit there and take the time because they either feel like shit, your dad's Haitian. You should know this. You should know this.
Yeah,
But at
that's
the
it.
same time, it's like, okay, well, I don't, but I'm still willing, you know? And I think if anything, it'll probably be more the pronunciation. Like I could read certain things, not a lot, but I'm like, you know, once the willingness is there, it's like I'm embracing, you know. So this kind of goes back to the question you asked me, Linus, but this is me embracing the side that I never embraced before. It's almost like I'm doing things a little backwards, but I mean, I couldn't expect my Jamaican mother to teach me Creole if she didn't even know Creole herself. You know, that is something that my father would have to teach me, or she should encourage me to, instead of taking Spanish class, I should have took French class, you know, when they offered it in school. But I didn't. And now here we are. And it's just like, you know what? I've been exposed to it. I see it. And this is what I want. This is what I want to learn. And this is, you know, I can hold more of a conversation with someone in, you know, in Spanish than I can in Creole. And I'm like, and I don't even have Spanish blood. So I should know a little bit more about my culture. So if I ever go to see my aunts who live in New York, I could probably be able to hold a little conversation with them in Creole, you
I
know?
guess
So
you're in the right place. I guess we should have um a podcast like at least like for a few hours, like
Oh,
doing a
you wanna
Creole.
you
What do you
wanna do
think,
it in
Liz?
Creole?
what? Like a Creole class?
Like a podcast. We can have like a few people, like especially people that speak Creole, they're gonna be here too. I mean, we might have some Creole speaking around too. That will.
But just so you know, it's not gonna stay there for me because I'm gonna mix it up.
That's fine. I mean, of
It's
course you're gonna
just
have to, because some of the things that you might have to translate to Liz. Right?
No, I'm just laughing because I'm playing back an incident that happened, and something was said in Creole and someone had to translate. And it's just one of those things, like I should know it shouldn't have to be translated, but you know, it's one of those things, but it is what it is, you know? But I get it, you know. I just think that, like, if I had to choose, I'd choose my own before anything, you know. But when it comes to like love, it's almost like I almost want to say like all bets are off. But it's
it's
like, how will I even
unpredictable.
know what's out there if I'm not even willing to entertain something different? But
You have to
you
jump in the water fit first.
you you know, and I'm not even trying to do that either, because I don't want to be out there. I want to be inside. I want to be cuddled up. I want to be like watching TV and,
Hey, but how
you
you gonna
know,
find someone cuddled up inside watching TV?
huh?
How you gonna find someone inside? You gotta step out to find someone.
That's true. I mean, shit, y'all know people. I don't know. I don't know. That's not my scene. Like the club scene is not my scene. I mean,
It's,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
and
know.
the thing is, I don't know. Never mind. I don't know.
You do
All right.
know.
No, I really don't. If you don't know, I definitely don't know.
Well, how will I find somebody? I don't know. I guess I don't know. You
Because the
know?
thing is, I don't know. You don't know people, especially when you get. Even if I know someone, you getting into a relationship with them, that's a whole different. I don't know that person because you
You
know what I
don't know
mean.
them. You don't know them on
Yeah,
that type of
yeah.
dynamic.
So he might be a good person from what I know, and you get into a relationship with them, that's a whole
He's full of
different.
shit.
Or he
Yeah.
might be an asshole with me, and then you get into a relationship with him, and then he treats you, like it's. That's why I try not to be the what is it called? I try not to play Cupid.
Oh, feed the flame.
He- yeah,
But at
it
the
is
same
just
time, too, Jeff, it goes back to you know, that communication and knowing who you're dealing with, you know, because if you people are not honest, then it's like just say it for what it is. If that's what you want or that's what you don't want, say it, so that when you're in that talking phase and you're talking to the person and you ask them like, hey, what do you want? You know, that's a problem. And I think that like honesty was like, I think that could be like another good topic, especially when it comes to like uh relationships. And it doesn't even have to be like a romantic one, just a relationship with anybody in general, at work, at home, in your love life. Honesty is just very important. But it's just like when you get to knowing someone, you have to just say, like, listen, this is what I'm looking for. If this is not what you want, then what are you doing?
Yeah, but the thing is, nowadays most people don't know what they want.
Shit, I know what I want.
But most people don't. Asking somebody what they want, they probably won't even know they want this until they actually, studying to see what this is like, if that makes
That is
sense.
true. That is true.
You know what I
Because
mean?
they were never exposed to it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because sometimes I ask somebody, hey, what you want, what you're looking for. And they're like, I don't know. They really don't know because it's just, you know what I mean? It's just,
I mean, it depends. Like, I think you probably talking about kids.
huh?
Yeah, you sound far away, Lunes.
I'm just saying that I think if you talk to a kid that, like I said, I think you were talking about like with the little kid man. Somebody, if you ask somebody like something like that, say they don't know, man, that's like
No,
you
yeah,
got it
'cause
one, man.
it's not even about
'Cause-
being a kid. It's sometimes, it's
so
when you never have something real, you don't know what's real is like.
Yeah.
You know what I
so
mean? Until you
somebody's
act,
if
hmm?
somebody's in their 20s, like early 20s, or
They can be in their 30s and still never been exposed to a real relationship or
That
never
is
been with
true.
somebody who's been good to them.
That's
And
true.
then, when they get to the point you ask them, hey, like, what are you looking for? And they're like, I don't know, because I've had so many bad experiences. Is that, until they start seeing something, until they have like a good example of what a good relationship is like. And
I
most,
mean,
not
but
everybody, most people,
I've had bad relationships and I still know what I want.
yeah, but I'm
And if
saying
you
like some
and if
people grow up into like a single parent household. You know what I mean? They don't know what having a family is like.
no,
You
I
can
grew up
expect,
I grew up I grew up in a single parent household and I knew what I wanted,
yeah,
you
but that
know?
doesn't apply to everybody. Not
True.
everybody is like that.
True,
Just
but when
because
you're but
you,
when you're ex, but when you're exposed to, I look at it like this. If you are exposed to a certain lifestyle and then you grow up, I think I have said this already, like you're either going to determine whether you want to mimic the lifestyle you were raised in or create something different. I was just
Mhm.
telling, believe it or not, I was actually telling my son this today, that because this is just, backstory. So he got a dirt bike. His father really didn't want him to have a dirt bike. But his grandfather, which is his father's father, had a dirt bike and encouraged his son, which is my son's father, to get a dirt bike. So I told him, like, sometimes it's weird how Pete and I use my situation, how I grew up in a single parent household. And although I did not have a bad life, I did not have a bad life. I lived comfortably. Um, I knew that I wanted to have both parents in the house with the children. That's how I was raised. Not because I had anything bad, but because that's what I wanted for my children. And although, I made an attempt and it fell through, that doesn't mean I still don't want it. It's just, unfortunately, it just won't be with their father. And it's like sometimes, even though I went through that, or even though I was raised in that single parent household, I still want to have I don't want to be a single parent. I don't want that. I want to be married. Um but I think when you know what you want, nothing should deter you from that. If you had a lot of shitty relationships, you should know what a good one is like, unless these women or these men are so good at, making you feel like you're the most important person. But then meanwhile, they're over there talking to like 10 different guys, or, 5 different girls. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, like, it just because you've had bad experiences should not mean that you still don't know what you want. If anything, it should tell you, I've had bad experiences, so I know what I don't want. Not, I don't know. You should know. And I think that society kind of plays this role, like letting people think that you can have it all. You can have the girl with the fat ass and the cute face and the big lips and the, she can screw you right. She can cook, she can clean, she can do all of this. But then you don't know, she could be damaged as hell. She can have unhealed trauma. You know what I'm saying? She could be insecure she could be insecure.
Hmm.
So it's like you can sit there and have it all, but then you don't know what it does to the mental, because I've seen pretty beautiful women be insecure as shit. So it's like when you have exposure to bad, you should, when you feel or see something good, you should embrace it, not question it, unless you've been around people who just put you in a position like, I'm not sure. But then the person who's always been treated bad, they might try to self-sabotage because they could say like, oh my God, this girl's too good to be true. Like I've been in situations like that. They're like, ain't no way you're where you are. And it's just like, why not? Like, oh, something must be wrong or this or that. And it's like, no,
Do
this
you
is
feel like
who
there's
I am.
something wrong?
Huh?
Would you feel like there's something wrong?
With me? No, I was told that they're like, why am I single? Like that's what I was asked. And it was just like, because I ain't taking no shit. And I can be a bitch sometimes. That's my flaw. I'm gonna always have an opinion. I'm gonna always have something to say. And you can't shut me up. And I can say it respectfully, or I can say it, I cannot. Do I always want to be like this? No, I do want to be like a soft girl, or I want to be just like how I treat a man like a king. I want to be treated like a queen too. And I'm going to call you out on your shit if you're not. But then at the same time, I might keep my mouth shut and just sit back and watch and see how see how you move. And if I see like, hey, you're not doing what you need to do and I'm doing all of this, then I'm going to say something about it. So, but yeah, some people look at it like, how are you single and you're not, why are you not with anyone?
Are you stubborn though?
I can say I used to be. Now I'm not. I'm not as stubborn. I just have boundaries, and
Everyone should have those.
yeah. But
But
some
here's
people don't,
but the thing.
and I think some people, they get intimidated too, because it's like, I have kids. And, depending on the guy, they might embrace the children or they may not and have an issue with maybe the father or, stuff like that. So it's just kind of one of those things like, and then, like I said,
Is
people are so wishy-washy. You don't really know.
Why is just some people though when they try to go all over you when you try to protect yourself and either talk back or whatever, they call you stubborn. Do you? Because I have people that call me that it's like I'm the type of guy, I don't like people play with me. I'm just um if you say something to me, I'm gonna say something back. If you try to go all over me, it ain't gonna happen.
Right. I'm not
So
a pushover, and I don't know. I can't sit there and say I used to be very stubborn. Now it's just one of those things like, all right, what are we doing here? Where is this going to lead us? Where is it going to take us? Because if we're not having some kind of conversation about how to be better in the future, so to prevent from future arguments, and what are we really doing? I'm not really there to argue. Like we could be doing some other stuff. We ain't got to be doing this.
yeah,
But that's why it's good. Like, what are you expecting? What do you like? What do you not like? I know sometimes, like some men are like not intimidated, but they feel a way because they're like, oh, you have your house, you have your car, you have your job. And so it's like there's no room for you. And it's just like, or there's no room for them. I'm like, no, there's a lot of room for you. But
that's the thing. On the opposition, I think it's some men will just try to come and try to use that. The good one will probably be scared.
yeah. Yeah.
Just for
but so how do you fix that? Because You still need
And
somebody
it's
regardless.
yeah, and it's hard, Jet, because it's like if you meet a girl who doesn't have any of that stuff, you as a like if I was a man, I would question, regardless of what race they are, I would question their intentions with me. So which goes back to the whole ball player situation. Always look at it like this. If I wasn't in the position that I was in, would this person be talking to me? More than likely not. So when I see these athletes with these women of different cultures, it's just like, bitch, you know good and well. If he was just some regular guy, you wouldn't be talking to him.
No, no.
His color, you probably wouldn't even look at him. You know, you probably wouldn't even look twice at him and walking down the street.
Yep.
So it's kind of one of those things like, yeah, if you meet a woman, regardless of where she came from, it's like, and she didn't have these things and you did, it would make you wonder, is she with me for me or is she with me for what I have? And then the same kind of goes for me. It's just harder because I'm already like somewhat established. So it's like any man who comes in my life, it will make me wonder, like, okay, what you looking for somewhere to sleep? You looking for somewhere to put your head, someone to cook your food and all? It's just like, wait a minute, like, you know, and it's
It's gonna be
almost like I don't. Hmm.
it's gonna be really tough for you to like for somebody to just be with you like that because is it the from like, especially from where you are right now like it's just I
Yeah,
feel like and who knows.
that's hard, Jet. What would you do? I mean, if you guys met a woman who had her house, she had her car, she had her, her stuff situated, and you weren't on that level, or maybe you were,
um, it
would
depends.
you talk to her?
I would, but it will be depend on how she is. Because
Yeah.
sometimes some women, when they have those kind of things, they act like they better than you. You know what I mean? Like they treat you like you beneath them. If
Mm-hmm.
it's if that's how she's coming, I wouldn't even waste my time.
I
But
agree.
if she's somebody who's humble, um, let's say if I'm where she's at, cool. If she's willing to, let's put that together. You know what I'm saying? Like get better, move forward. Or if
Mm-hmm.
he's willing to, okay, well, he's not there yet, but I can see he's trying. He's gonna get there one day. You know what I mean? Like things
Right.
like that. Those are the things that I would be looking at. But if she's acting like, oh, you don't have this, or you do have this, but why do you need mine? I'm gonna do that with mine, and while we do that with yours, you know what I mean? That kind of energy would have already be. That's how I would have looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
So it wouldn't
um,
be any.
we have some. It's just funny how we just talking like right now, and then it's almost like 2.5 hours. So can you believe that?
It's over
And
two
so,
Mm-hmm.
half hours.
so basically, that tells you that there's a lot. There's a lot we can talk about. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I don't know what do you guys think about tonight. If we should end it right now, or we can have a
Sound like
little,
that's your way of saying it's time for you to go.
huh?
I think before you wrap it up, before you wrap up any podcast, maybe just kind of summarize back on your views, your beliefs, as far as it relates to the topic. So
Yeah,
whatever the topic is for the night, you just share, dating outside your culture. Lunas, you would,
I
you'd say your piece. I'd say my piece. Um,
know. Then
Jeff say his piece, that type of thing. And then you
in
yeah,
just
that
that's
kind of can
good.
case,
wrap it up that way.
That's a
in
good
that
idea
case, let me go first. So I feel
because
like
you
we
look
all,
grumpy.
huh?
You look grumpy.
How? No, but it's the way I see it, me personally, it's I feel like we all people, whether you're white, black, Latino, Asian,
I agree.
um, it's love is love at the end of the day. Love is love. You love who you love, and if it's real and genuine, I don't care if he's white or if he's white or if he's black or if you know what I mean. As long as the love is real.
I got you.
That's
I
all that
understand.
matters at the end of the day. Because he might be black, but he's mistreating you. Would you want that, Liz?
Come on now. No.
Okay
I'm
then.
I'm
So
home. I'm home.
it's not about being home or you being treated right.
I would rather take
You
it at
can be
home
home
instead
and
of.
still get your ass beat.
I would rather take it.
So
I would rather take it at home. Man.
really,
Yeah, I would rather take it from home instead of get it from somewhere else. No.
oh
Yo,
wow.
I'm so entitled to yo. It
At the end of the day,
just.
man, abuse is abuse.
I got you. I
So
respect that.
right.
I for me, I would say that like of course, like you said, people is people, but not everybody thinks the same way. And I respect your opinion, but I must stick to what I said. And just it's just me. Like I said, I respect everybody, and I have a love for white people, but not like love, like,
Not love. You don't love them and enough.
Not
Nah,
romantically.
man, no romantically. Nah, I'm not. I'm not. I don't even want them to touch me. To be honest with you,
Shit.
I'm just. All right, take it over. Take it over, Liz.
I mean, to me,
Um,
that's racism. But hey,
I mean, Lunez, after that last statement, I just laughed because yeah, it's leaning more towards the
yeah, there
but
is a little bit of
you know,
racism there.
Lunez
But
likes what he likes, what he
I,
likes. Me on the other hand, I have my preference and I mean, after I've been exposed to what I've been exposed to, I will never give up on my black men. I love my black men. I wish if I could wish anything, I just wish that they would just treat the black women better and give the black women more grace and more, you know, opportunities to grow with them. Don't when you
what
get a
do you
leg up,
think?
don't neglect them and mistreat them. But at the end of the day, if I had to choose, I mean, I gave birth to three black sons. To look at them and choose another race, it's almost like I'm disowning my own son, you know, and I love them with my whole being. But at the same time, I do understand, you know, dating outside of my culture, but just because I understand it and I probably, you know, I would entertain it does not it won't make it feel like home like it does when I'm around my own. It's just, you know, it's just different. So I can understand both sides. I can understand Lunas' side, I can understand Jep's side, I can understand my side, but I mean, in all essence, if I had to choose, I would always choose my black men. Always. But you know, if push comes to shove and God puts someone in my life that's not black and I start developing like feelings and romantic feelings for them, I might explore them. I can't sit here and say that I will because I don't know you know, where it would lead me, but I just based off of what I've experienced, like ain't nothing like your own, you know? So
Yeah.
that's how I
Well,
feel, but I'm open to, you know, I might like chicken nuggets today. I might want to try a hamburger next time. You know what I mean? So, but nonetheless, like, nah, I love my black men. Those, you know, I came from a black man. I gave birth to black men. So, you know,
stay black.
You wanna keep
yeah.
it black all the way.
So that's mine.
I'm not against that, but all I'm saying is you should always be open to other
That's true. I'm
possibilities.
open, but you know, open with caution. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
get that.
you
You
know, kind
open
of
my.
like with, like,
Let
kind
me.
of like,
I'm
I mean, honestly speaking, like,
close.
I mean, how was I any different from when I didn't talk to Haitian men because of how, you know, how my father wasn't in my life? It's almost like I had a preference to avoid Haitian men. And then look at me now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, so it's like just because, you know, I mean, I wasn't any different, but now it's just like, no, I'm going to embrace it because That's who I am, and there really is nothing like your own, honestly.
Nope.
So, to sit there and say that I would, like avoid black men. I mean, yeah, avoid and just say, oh, I have a preference for this. Yeah, nah, I probably wouldn't. But I won't, I totally won't disregard the idea either. So, but I get Jepson, I totally get it.
I mean, I got it too. I respect that.
I don't think you do, but hey, agree because the way you talk, I don't think you do. But
I got because that's your preference. That's your decision. I mean, I can't. I'm not
it
against
has
what
nothing to do with my preference, though.
It's Jepson's viewpoint is he's saying, love is love is love, and it should not have a color or a culture associated with it.
You're really
You know,
And he
here's the
just
thing,
wants to make sure that his son is straight and that he
That's
doesn't
it.
play for the other team. He doesn't care who or what they bring.
No,
I wish that the other side would see the same thing that you see.
but if it's real love, they do see it, though.
Honestly, like I know someone who was it was a black guy dating a white girl. And I asked him, like, how did it feel? Like, what made them like black guys? And, all the answers were the same. And it was just so superficial that I was almost disgusted at why they wanted to be with black men. They're just like, oh, black men, they don't find them like they have swag or they have, the way they walk is very,
No, but
and I'm just like, seriously, like that almost
why
sounds like it
sounds
almost
so.
sounded like a fetish, And then I said, okay, well, if you were to meet this white person's parents, especially down here in the South, you enter topics of like racism and stuff like that. And come to find out, the girl's father was racist. He was a full-blooded racist. And it was just kind of like, and how do you feel about that? Knowing that they don't like you just because of your skin. And you'll be knowingly going around this person because you're with their daughter. Like they probably, and then they'll probably be sitting there trying to sabotage the relationship. But dad, I love him, and all that crap. So it's just like, you'll never hear that in a black family.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't see
you've heard other things. It may not be necessarily this, but you've heard other things.
True.
I know black parents who doesn't want their kids to be with another black person just because
That
they
is
don't
true.
like them.
That is
So
true.
why is it so different?
The only thing that the only answer that I've come up with when it comes to that is that the black person who's trying to avoid their black children from dating other black people has a complex themselves and that they are unhealed from some kind of trauma. And then the whites, honestly, or anyone of the European background who are of fair skin, I think that all stems from, from race. It's all about the race. And not everybody views it that way, but
no, but to me, if you're gonna say, okay, black on black hate is an issue, the same way you should say it's an issue for white on black hate. You can't pick one, be like, oh, this one's less since it's black on black, and this one more since they white.
That is true. But, a lot of that black on black hate and crime comes from what was planted. And, Tupac said it best. He said, give them the gun, sit back and watch them kill each other.
Yep.
So it's just like, we didn't, and then even when you look back on slavery days, they had the fair skinned or the lighter skinned black people in the house in the AC serving the whites, and then they had the darker skinned people outside in the fields. And then they would sit there, and then their white slave master would come and sleep with them, rape them, and then produce these half mixed or half breed kids. And then what do you think happens? The black woman gets pushed to the side again, and then the fair skinned child gets raised in the household and to be a housemaid. And it's just like, but wait, the white so it's like my views on it are kind of like back and forth. It's kind of like a pendulum. It goes back and forth, but like it's just one of those things that's just very, very it's delicate. But yeah, the black on black is it's almost like they it's almost like they breed that kind of hate amongst us so that we can tear down our own. Because when we tear down our own, they can sit back and just watch as all of it fall down to the ground. Whereas when they do it, they're going to automatically assume it's race because that's the most apparent thing. That's the most obvious. You have someone white, you have someone black, and then they're going to lead to, you know, slavery and segregation and this and that and all this other stuff. So, you know, it's so now they just become a little more smarter with it. They just said, nah, let them do it to themselves so that we can remove ourselves from the equation.
You know,
But it's all bad nonetheless.
It's
That's why
just
people need to educate themselves.
it just is too much that come with being with, especially with a white woman. Yeah, check this out though. Like, let's just say you're watching TV, right? And you just sit on the couch with your white girlfriend or wife, and something happened to a black dude, and now they started talking about race. Like you sit in the car with your wife, right? Like as soon as they talking about like race and stuff, automatically you're gonna feel uncomfortable.
That's not true.
Really?
That's not true. But not all white people have the same view on race.
No, it's not. It's not like
that is
it's not.
true.
It's not that. But I'm just saying, like you sit down, you're
Okay,
watching
let me
TV
ask
now.
you. Let me ask
They
you
talk
this.
about this black man did, this black man did, da, 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 da. Automatically, by you sitting down right next to a white woman,
That's
aren't you
not
gonna
true.
feel some type of way?
That's not true. That's not true.
So
Especially
let me
if
ask
that person that you with, whether she's white or whatever she is, if she's with you, like you say, she's sitting right next to you while you listen to that. If that person know who you are and that person love you, none of that matter.
that's not what I'm saying. You're saying. Let me ask you, Liz. Let me ask you this. Like, let's just say you and I as a black couple, we're in the house together versus Gibson with another white girl. Like, check this out. Let's just say that they talk bad about the black man on the
Hey,
TV. Like for you and me as a couple, we're black. We're not gonna feel like we're gonna be like, okay, that's what we're gonna kind of feel okay, not feel uncomfortable about it. But you, Gibson, sitting right there by the same people that do you wrong, doing us wrong,
no,
and
but
then
the
for you to
person
be
I'm
like,
sitting next to is not the. She never done me wrong.
but so if you wanna go back, I can go
Okay,
way back with you.
so now we're going back. So basically, since their ancestors used to be quote unquote racist, they used to be bad. Now, 100 years later, I should still punish every white person I see because of that.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell
Okay,
yeah,
then the cycle of hate will never end, Linus.
hell yeah. But what
I
they,
don't know
yo,
if Lunas has hate. It just seems like Lunas is just avoiding them.
No,
yo,
but
I can't.
that's
I,
not just
yo,
avoiding them.
no, there's no way I can
Avoiding
forgive
someone is
these people,
avoiding
man.
someone. That's
I
not just
can't.
avoiding them.
I can never forgive them for what they did. I can't. It's just too
I mean,
much.
in all fairness, I understand where Lunas is coming from, but at the same time, I mean, you can't punish one for all. You
Exactly.
know, like
I'm talking
for
about all of
example, like like I get it though, because trust me, like I grew up on the East Coast, which is more diverse than over here. I come over
them. Mhm.
here, and I'm not going to lie, there was an older white man who came into my job. He looked right past me. I'm the first face you see when you walk, and he looked right past me and went straight to a white woman and started talking to her. Right. And I'm the only black woman at my job. But I know that I'm smarter than anybody in there, like book smart, right?
Tell me.
When it comes to like their products and stuff like that, maybe not. But I'm the only one in there who I know I can run circles around them. Nonetheless, I spoke how I felt. And I said it out loud when the guy left. And I said, man, to know that I said good morning to that guy and he walked past me, and I said it in front of my group of white coworkers, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a former KKK member. I said it. I didn't care, because just because I'm black does not mean that you don't treat me with respect. But at the same time, he's looking at me like his hate for blacks is just, it's so apparent that you can't even say, you can't part your lips and say hello. So it's almost like that hate, something did fester inside of me to say that, because it's just like, how can you hate someone so much that you don't even know, that did nothing to you, but yet you don't like them for just being black? Meanwhile, it's almost like blacks have a reason to dislike, and some of them they still don't like, you know how Lunas feels. And then you have someone like me, it's just like, okay, well, what can we do? And it's one of those things where you acknowledge it and you just kind of like, okay, that's what it is. But you don't pay a blind eye to it. You know, it's just,
Definitely not. But
It's just
me,
the,
the
it's
way
just
I
those
see it
people
is,
that they
let's
think
say,
that they're
hold on, Luna.
superior. Go ahead.
The way I see it, let's say if I meet somebody, right, you treat me with respect. You don't show me any sign of disrespectful. You don't show me that you don't like me for who I am. I'm gonna give you the same treatment back. You know what I mean?
right.
In the same way, if I met somebody like that man who walked past you, the same way he treated me, that's the same way I'm gonna treat him.
Yeah. You
But
know what
I'm
the
not
thing
just
is?
gonna start every time I see a white person, I'm gonna be like, oh, he must be the devil. Like, I mean, you know what I
They
mean? I'm
are.
not
They
gonna
are.
do that.
You know
I'm
what
not
I've
gonna do
noticed?
that.
You know, I know that our parents have a very big influence on who we not hang around, but I think they have an influence in our life. You know,
Exactly.
because when we hit a certain state, like let's just say we hit adulthood and we're hitting marital problems, who are we going to go to? Our parents, because why? They were the example. If we're running into financial problems, if our parents are well off, we're going to go reach out to them. Like our parents have a very big influence in our life, depending on how your parents were, you know, in your life. Now, if you run into problems, for example, you're dating a white girl, right? I mean, or your white girlfriend's dating a black guy. You don't think, I've thought about it, but I don't know because I've never entertained it. But I've wondered if the parent has a hate or a dislike for dating outside of the race, are they going to then and try to influence and encourage their child to do the same?
I
Because of the influence that, you know, our parents do have on our lives.
Yes and no. Yes, because I guess most that's the main example we have, right?
Right.
But as we growing up, as we're making our own decision, as we're making our own mistake, I feel like some of those will change. Even if
I
let's say
agree.
your parents, your grandparents, they all, everything was black up until you.
Yeah.
That might change. And I don't
And
see any that's not what you grew up with. You never seen it before, but you choose that route based on how you feeling,
you
based on
know,
your own personal experience.
right. But I'll be honest, because of that uncertainty, I wouldn't want to risk my heart and my feelings for to find out. That's how I feel.
What's wrong with
You know,
experience?
for
Don't do it.
example, like I just told you, like if I'm dating a guy who's white, okay, for example, perfect scenario. I'll use myself. That white guy that I was talking to, that I was just talking to, he told me straight up, because I asked him, like, you know, like, why are you talking? He's just like, oh, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, how do your parents feel about it? He said, my dad's okay with it because he's dated other women that were black. And I said, oh, and what about your mom? He's like, yeah, my mom's not okay with that. She's like, she doesn't hate it. She just doesn't understand why I don't date white women. And I said, well, what is it about him that you, he's just like, I don't know. I just don't. Now, I never went that route with him, so I don't know what the outcome would have been. But
Oh,
it's one of those things like, I am not going to risk, putting my heart and my feelings and love on the line for a simple, like, let me see how they treat me because of my skin color kind of situation. I
If
personally won't do it.
but
Like,
okay, but if you feeling that person, wouldn't that worth a try?
no,
Isn't that what love is?
it
Do you
is.
ever know the person that you're gonna be with?
No, but in my opinion, I feel like it does matter because what happens if the parent is successful in convincing the
Okay,
child, or not child, but in convincing their child that, yeah, no, my mom was right about you.
it's not about. But the thing is that you're not dating their parents. I get it.
True,
I
you're not
get.
dating the parents,
But
but the parents
okay,
have an
but
influence,
okay,
especially, and then that goes back to their cultural upbringing. Because if family means everything to you, and just knowing that you talking to this white girl or me talking to this white guy is gonna create a divide in a family dynamic that's like this,
okay.
I'm the first one to remove myself from the equation because that's the first
I,
thing I don't ever want to do is break up anything, break up any home,
I,
break up any relationship, break up any families, and create tension over something that I can't control.
I
So
get
I
it.
would
But
be the
let's
one
say
to step
you.
out and just say,
No,
you
no,
know
no,
what?
no.
You got that.
If you with somebody who truly love you, I don't think their parents' opinion really matter.
It does.
You think somebody who loves you gonna let their parents influence?
Well,
It
I think it all depends on how they feel about their parents. Like if they
Okay,
don't want
then.
to if they don't want to disappoint their parents, then I don't think it would be okay. Just
Okay, but
you can love me
forget
with your
all.
whole you can love me with your whole heart. But if you don't want to disappoint your parents and your parents are actively saying like, "Hey, listen, I don't like her."
Okay, but like he was telling you, his his dad was okay with it. It was his mom who wasn't okay with it,
Right.
right? But did he ever tell you like, hey, she make all the decisions for me? He was still trying to get with you. You
why you
think he
have to
was
put
gonna
yourself
let
into
his
something
mom
like
break
that,
you
man?
guys up?
I'm gonna tell you like this, Jeff. I mean, I get it, you know, but I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like life is already hard.
Mhm.
Why complicate it even more over something that I can't control?
Okay, who said it was gonna be complicated?
I
Come on,
think it's
Just because
complicated because
just because
why
he's
instead of me enjoying this person's company and enjoying, their unseasoned food and all this other shit, I gotta go sit here and worry about why the hell I'm black
but
and
what you
why
got.
the guy I'm talking to, why his mom doesn't understand
Okay, in that
why her
sense,
son dates black women.
at least you know why his mom doesn't. Sometimes you in a black and black relationship, and one of the parents just don't like you.
Yeah, but I know it's
And
I know it will be because of something that I know it won't be because of something I can't control.
whether you can control it or not, at the end of the day, it's you two who are in a relationship. That's all you can control. Why don't you just worry about that?
That's true. I don't know, Jep. That's why I'm like an overthinker and I overanalyze because I just don't understand. And then sometimes, things happen and it's just like, again, back to the influence our parents have. Now they can't make the decisions for us. But remember, at the end of the day, these are the people that gave us life and they raised us from birth all the way up until manhood, and then even when or womanhood, and then even after that, if we're fortunate enough to still have them in our lives as we become young adults and we start dating and having families, our parents are still there to offer their support and advice when we need it. So if it's someone that we hold in such a high regard and they're telling us that they don't like someone for the simple fact of you know the color of their skin, it's like, I don't see how
They,
you can
they,
just ignore
they,
it the way that you
they,
do.
they can do all that, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. You, of course, you
That
can
is
ignore it.
true. But you're
They're not gonna
creating
make the decision
unnecessary
for you.
tension and rift between families when you can just be like, you know what? I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
And then you
but
just That's one of my bad traits, though. That's one of my red flags. Like,
I just don't understand why Egyptians keep fighting with this thing because
It's not about fighting. I'm just trying to. It's not like you making it seem like I'm against what you guys are saying. It's more like
it's
you just gotta understand. It's not love is
listen,
not always about the
listen.
skin color.
There's something we have no control over. We don't have a control over our skin,
There's a
which
lot
is
of
it.
things you don't have control over,
You
but
don't
guess
have
what?
control over. If somebody
You
listen,
still
if
go in
somebody
it with
begins,
and hope for the best, don't you?
no, I'm not gonna know. I'm not gonna. Because come on now.
all right,
It,
Jeb,
You
listen, I
you
don't
do
want you
that
to
all
think
the
I
time.
support, I understand both sides. I do. But let me just make this clear. The unnecessary stuff, I'm not with it. And it's funny because someone told me this very not so long ago. And they said, listen, life and love is a game of Russian roulette. Just because you know somebody or know of them, you can meet someone that you know nothing about and you still have to learn them the same way. And when you put your heart out there on the line, you are simply just hoping that that person is for you. And I get it. I get it. I would, if I were to step onto that path, it would be one with uncertainty because I don't know what would happen. That's just me.
because here's the thing.
And any sign of like discomfort or uneasiness, I mean, I'll probably be quick to leave.
So here's the thing. What's the point of it? Let's say you ended up having a kid with this guy, right? And then your kid, think about it. Your kid cannot go to their grandma house, right? And just because you know that she's gonna look at your kids like on the way of the black child, what's the point of put yourself into something like that? I mean, it just doesn't make no sense to me. If you know that from the get go, like they, you're not welcome here. Why? Why you have to? I know that, like you say, it's
Me,
gonna
on the
be.
other hand, like I could see both sides. I wouldn't if I decided to still talk to that guy after his mother, like, like Jepson said, like, hey, you're not with that person. You're with me. You're with me. Like, let's just say I'm like, all right, baby, I'm with you and we get married, we have children. If I know that the mother or the grandmother of my children feels that way, I would never let them go over there. Because I know you feel that way, so I'm not going to expose my children to that. So I'm the type of person like, hey, listen, if we're in the way or you don't have to worry about me. I would totally remove myself from the equation. Now, at the end of the day, I look at it like this. I'm not the one missing out. It will be the grandmother who's missing out. She's missing out
So
on maybe seeing her son. She's missing out on seeing me and seeing our grandchildren or her grandchildren.
Okay,
But
I
but
would,
none of that.
I wouldn't
If
even put
that's
myself
how it
into.
is, that's how it is.
true. But then the other side of me too, Jep, and this is coming from like personal experience, like my kids never got an opportunity to meet my mother. So it's like to know that there is a living grandparent out there who doesn't want to see their child because their child is biracial or their child has black in them, that would probably kill me more than if I would have just removed myself from putting myself in that situation and now procreating with this person, having children, and now I have to keep my children away from their living grandparents because they don't like the fact that their grandchildren are half black.
Yeah, because think about it. At the beginning, you
That's
do.
that that's what would burn me, especially because I have such a big family dynamic. Like I'm very big on family. So
So what I'm trying to say is that think about it. At the beginning, you have control. You can stop that, right?
true,
So
true.
and then you know that you could have stopped it, and now you move forward with it, and you put yourself in a position where you have, technically you kind of bond together right now. The fact that you can have kids right now, you can't pull yourself out of it. Even though you stop talking, you're not talking to his mom or whatever. But at the end of the day, she's still kind of part of your family, regardless. Because there's a family involved now. So,
Hmm.
but it's which you had a choice at the beginning to get yourself out of it, and instead of you doing that, you move forward.
Yeah,
And
and now you got to deal with all the repercussions
yeah,
that come with it now.
exactly. So I would, to me, I feel like from the beginning, I would just like when I met my girl. Um, it was my mom and my sister because I was out there doing my thing, and especially my older sister, she said that I've been out there doing doing all the crazy stuff. She was like, she's a good girl, whatever. You know, I took that in consideration. Now, I mean, look at us right now. We okay. I mean, something you have to take advantage from your parents, man. I get it. Like something, I don't care what you say, mom. That's what I want. Yeah, I get it, but something you gotta take advice from your,
Yeah,
especially,
but you know
especially,
what's good advice. Even you
especially
can take advice from them, but it's still
especially
your
they older
decision.
than you. Especially they older than you, they foreseeing things before
It's
it
different
happens.
times, and we're living in different times. It's different
So
times.
it's listen, yeah, I get it, but experience is not like something that experience is not old or young. If you know something, if you would like to know something like regardless the time change or whatever, just like you learned something like years ago, you can still use it today to prevent certain things. Am I right or wrong?
You're right. You're right.
So I don't know, man. It just like I get it.
So, Jeb,
Uh,
you would if you were in a situation like that where your parents were not on board or her parents were not on board, you would feel okay with them not seeing the grandchildren if you were to move forward in that relationship.
Okay. Before I
And
even
then before
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 I
you
even
answer that,
answer that,
like, huh?
now go ahead.
Oh, my other question would be, I've seen or heard stories where they're getting married, and because they don't support the relationship, they don't support the marriage and they don't attend. How would you
Okay.
feel knowing that you have your partner there who's longing for their parents to be there or their parent to be there or have their mother help them put on their wedding dress and pin their brooch on or put on their veil and give them the kisses and all that for their wedding, and they're not there because of who she chose? Would you really not care? And then the grandchildren question.
Okay. Let's say you do. Let's get risk out of it, right? Let's say same thing happening, but let's say she's black, we're both black, right? And let's say one of the parents is not okay with you guys being together.
that's something that can change, Gibson, as the
What
time
you mean
go
how
by.
that can change, Linus?
He can change.
The same way if it was white or black, that could change too.
Gibson, okay,
So
you
it
gonna
can only
I'm
change on if they
listen,
both.
listen. That's a clear. Listen, I'm gonna give you an example. At the beginning of my relationship with my girl, you know how your parents have felt about this, right? Then
The
they okay
same
with
way
that?
if you guys were, you
No,
were white or if she was
that's
black,
something
that could
about
have changed too.
that's something about college, Gibson. You don't have control. That was never gonna
It's
change.
not, no, the color is not gonna change, but the views might change just like the view change.
No, no. If I don't like you just because you black, I just don't like you just because you're black.
If that's how
So
you
that's not gonna
if that's how
change.
you see it, I'm guessing,
Regardless, regardless if that person ended up will be on okay with you, deep down, I'm not. I just don't like black people. I don't like black people.
just
Regardless
like
what you do.
just like they learn to love you if you were white or if she was white, the same thing could have happened.
No,
So it can only love can only grow if it's only if you go both are black.
no. It's just like that's something that you have control over. It's something you have control over, or something you don't have control over. It's different things. Keep saying when you talk about color, we don't have. We just Just like when somebody talking about height, somebody said, "Yo, you short. I'm not gonna date you because you short." You don't have control about your. Somebody that fat, that person have a control over that. They can lose, go out there and work out and lose weight, right?
Man,
Am I wrong? They
you
can
are
go out.
completely wrong, but hey, you are
Somebody like
completely wrong. But at the end of the
if
day, you have your opinion, and I'm gonna respect that.
if you don't like me just because I'm black, I don't have control over that. But somebody that just because I'm dating your daughter, you don't like me just because of something happened, and then it's not nothing really like something that could change because I knew there was something that could change that I could move forward with that. But if you're talking about like skin color, I don't like you because of your skin color. That's not gonna change regardless they accept
And
you.
then if let's say the the person you with, if you guys love each other, that can change as well.
I'm talking about their parents.
Yes, that can change as well.
Even if
Well,
they try to be okay with me, I wouldn't trust them.
that's your opinion. I'm gonna
I,
respect that. I'm gonna
I get it.
respect that. That's your opinion, and I'm gonna respect that.
Yeah.
But
So what would you do, Liz?
What would I
Would
do
you
about what?
do you think that do you think they will be okay with you from the beginning because they be like, oh, she's black. I don't like her to be a part of our family. And down the line and they be like they kinda okay with you.
So I would say that sometimes people don't like you, they tolerate you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things like, yeah, you may not like me, but if you start talking to me like, oh, well, you're in it now and blah, it's just one of those things like, I don't know, man. I'm not going to sit there and say like I'd sleep with both my eyes closed if I'm at your house. I would be very cautious moving forward because yes, it can change. But I'm such a skeptical person as it is already that I'm gonna go based off of what you show me first.
From
If
the
you
beginning.
don't know, if I don't know you and you don't know me, you have no right to sit there and say, I don't like her because of blah, 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 blah. Now, if I find out that that's how you feel, and then all of a sudden you start talking to me and we're good and we're friends and I would talk to you because, I'm all about the familyness and the togetherness, but I wouldn't trust you with my whole heart.
Mm-hmm.
I would always be
okay,
cautious. Not
so
because you're out there to harm me, but because you judged me and you didn't even know me. So it's like your character already is kind of questionable because you're disliking me over something that I can't control. Your son or your daughter or your cousin or your brother chose me, and I chose them back. And you're choosing, like with everything else, that's a choice. You're choosing to not like me for something that I did not choose to be. This is just who I am. So if you're not okay with me and then all of a sudden you're okay with me, I'm going to be like, I don't know. Because it lets me wonder, like, where's what's really the truth? And I feel like you could switch it up, but then people can change. But I mean, I've gone through that personally, not on so much like white and black, but our culture, and it's just like, nah,
So that's the
it's just one of those things like, mm-mm.
what's the point of those, continue something like that if you know that I don't know. It just
so
Well, I'll tell you,
so
like, I'll just kind of put it out there like this. So my kid's grandmother, she's, although she's black, she's very light skinned, very, very light. His father is dark skinned, so he came out his color, but I have the kinky hair. She has some more wavy hair. She's more fair skinned. And she did not want her son to be with someone like me, dark skin with curly hair. She preferred he be with either someone that was white or Hispanic. And I didn't know this until I got pregnant with my son. So I never knew she disliked me because of my color until I got pregnant with my first son. And that's when things came out, that's when things came out, and I was, I mean, I was too far in at that point to know that she felt that way because he never expressed it to me, and I didn't pick up on it at first because she was very okay, everything, but I think that she thought that I was gonna be someone who was just temporary, like a girl he's just dating. But then when it got serious when I got pregnant, and then when I got pregnant, it was just like, oh shit, and then that's when I saw the true colors. And it was just like, same thing. Why didn't you not like me? You know? And never really had a reason until it came back to me that, it's because of who I am, something that I can't control. And then
Exactly.
after a while, it's like, they sabotage, they say things about you. So those things that I was talking, those came from personal experience. So it's like for me to kind of go down that hole again and talk to a guy who's white and I know that his mother just feels a kind of way, I probably wouldn't go down that because I've already gone down it before. And it's just one of those things like she didn't like me, she just tolerated me. And now that now that her son and I are not together, it's almost like she has more of an influence because I know there were times where I've said things and, oh, my mom did say you'd say that. And it's just like, wait a minute, so, and it created a lot of unnecessary drama. So it's like, I'm the first one to kind of walk away and say, you know what? I'm not doing that shit again. So
So
if you're not gonna love me and take me for who I am and your family feel the same way, then I'm not gonna stick around for that.
since you both have kids and you both are basically against interracial relationship, do you guys will feel the same way if your kids ended up being somebody white home?
Well, I'm not against interracial. I just wish that the black men who chose white women gave more black. I wish they had a love for their own black women. That's what I wish for. I'm not going to say I'm against it. I just know when I see it, it just rubs me the wrong way because I know there are good black women like myself out there who deserve to be with someone that is black too. That's just how I feel. And if they want to date someone white, I just hope that they treat them right. That's it.
But what if
And love
your
them right.
person, the
And
person that what if your person, the person that met for you, happen to not be black?
but if they're meant for me, then I would entertain it. I'm not gonna like shy away from it. But but I feel like the same thing happens with the black men. I think that they think that we black women have given up on them too. So it's like, why are you choosing a white woman? Is it for societal reasons? Is it for like a status? Like, what is it that you're going after I even know a guy, believe it or not, I know a guy that I went to school with. He said he wants to have he wants to have his kids with a white woman because he knows they'll be beautiful. And I'm like, what? Like, you just sound stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I said, if you have a beautiful black baby, you know that is the definition of beautiful. You don't have to mix races in order to get and develop and create something beautiful. And I'm not against it, Jeb. It's just that I just wish that the black men who chose white women gave more black women a
Yeah,
chance and
I
love and
don't.
love them correctly. You
With you,
know?
Liz, I get it, but Lunas is completely against it. It's like he's
Yeah.
speaking of it. It's
So
like it's
so
just
so the same way I feel about that with myself, Jeb, is the same way I feel about my kids with that.
mhm.
Like if they bring home a a girl that's not black, I wouldn't look at it like how that white guy I was talking
Mhm.
to. I wouldn't look at it like how his mother looks at it, but I would really question like why not your own? Why wouldn't you give your own black women a chance? Because
No,
they are
I
out
see
there.
where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I
So,
get it.
but now you, Jep, you have your story, and you're just like, they were very welcoming and open arms, and I feel like a lot of us are like that too. But I just
No, but
think that they just need
remember
to.
what I saying. at the time I wasn't
Yeah, at
getting
the
it.
time, at the
That
time.
wasn't who embraced me
Right.
at the time.
At the time. I should have said at the
Yes.
time. But, you know, that's what I look at. When I see the interracial, it just, you know, but then I'm going to speak, it kind of sounds a little hypocritical, but then I look at the black women with the white men, and I feel like it's an easier pill to swallow, only because I know that there are black men out there that don't treat their women right. And they just get so heartbroken that they're just like, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go talk to a white guy now.
Yeah, I
You
guess
know,
that's
or
a
there
lot
are
of
women
life.
out there who get tired of getting their heart broken by black and white guys and they decide to go gay.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
see,
it's the
that's
same
what I was
thing.
like when you guys say, why does it have to be so different when the role is reversed? That's my biggest issue with what you guys are saying. Why is it have to be such a
Well,
big deal when it reverse?
for me, I know, well, I can only speak on myself. I already said it. I'm not giving up on my black men. So I think that some women out there feel the same way, that they're not going to give up on their black men either. Because giving up on your black men means giving up on your dad, giving up on your uncles, giving up on your cousins, your brothers, your sons, if you have them. And
But
I
it's
cannot
okay
look at
for a
my
black man
sons
to
and,
give up on
but that's how I
a
feel.
black
So when I
woman.
see a black woman, a black man with a white woman, I feel as though he's given up on his black mother. I feel as though he's given up on his sisters, his aunts, his cousins, his nieces. That's what I see. So it's almost like it still rubs me the wrong way. But I feel as though after a while, you get tired of being treated poorly. And then you turn around and you say, you know what? I'm tired of being treated bad by my own kind. And then you entertain something different. And it turns out to be something great.
Yeah, but
However,
the mistreatment is both ways.
the mistreatment is both ways, which is why I just wish that what I had said, to kind of go back on what I said, is I wish that, you know, they chose us every time and that, you know, women chose them every time. There wouldn't be, I don't think there would be that much of that.
Well, the
But
way I see it, I mean,
I know you're
I
okay
feel
with
like if
whatever.
no, it's not that I'm okay with whatever. If everybody is being treated fairly, the
Yeah.
two people involved
Jeb
who's
just
gonna
wants
be
happiness and
living with each
togetherness.
other, if they love each other, I don't see a problem wrong with it. There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with it.
I don't have a
If
problem with it, but it won't be like my first choice. You
It
know, I'll
doesn't
just
have
say
to be your
that.
first choice, but it's the right choice. It's not the first choice doesn't have to be always right.
I
True.
don't think if the white girl say she loves me, I don't think I would believe her.
So if a white girl, you can just look at his face, just thinking
I
about it is
know.
disgusting. It's just
Lunas does not like it, and I
okay.
understand. You know,
So your daughter bring home a white man later.
shit.
Looks like you'll disown her.
Yeah.
You know, Jep, and honestly, I know a lady, right? Her family, they're from India,
Mm-hmm.
and their daughter is in. She's going to school to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of the Indian Hindu people, they're like, they believe in Hindi or Hinduism or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're into that. But the lady that I know, she's Indian, but but she's Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And they disown their children for one, dating outside of their race.
Yeah.
But this particular lady now, her daughter, believe it or not, her daughter is not dating outside of her race, but she is dating outside of the religion.
Yeah.
And it is creating such a family dynamic that is unseen because they are fighting. Well, the mother, not so much, but the father is really going, really hard on why isn't he a Christian? Even though they have the same culture, the religious views now are an issue.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming a problem because they're Christian, they're Hindu, and it's a big thing. So it's just one of those things that you just kind of like, man, so it sometimes, and I don't know, man. I'm just at the point where I'm just like, man, I could just tell you what's on my mind. Like, God, just send my husband and that treats me good, and then I'm good. You know, I'm not gonna put a
Well,
color on
that's
it, but
that's
I
that's
hope
how
and
it
pray he is
should be.
black.
And
But
that's
I do hope and pray that he's black, you know? So
that's okay. And that's okay.
so
That's okay. But you just can't sit there tell me you'll disown your own daughter just because of and you mean to tell me that's not racism?
I hope you get a black one. A black one. We're gonna have a black one coming your way, though.
yeah.
Because if not,
Thanks, Lunez. Pray for me.
because if not, you can already tell he'll cut you off.
No, I
Shit.
wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. But
But you disown
I
your
get
own
it,
daughter
Jeff.
though,
You're so bad.
or you, or you,
Oh boy.
uh,
I can see, I mean, honestly, if I were to ever come around with a white guy, I'm pretty sure Lunez will be like, Liz, what the hell are you doing?
yep. You'll be lucky if you get that. He probably won't even talk to you. So if you get that, you're lucky.
yeah,
Oh
Hey,
man.
trust me, Liz. If you
yo,
get that, there is hope.
I mean, the
yeah,
way Lunez is rooting for me, he has to be black, he has to be
Hey,
Haitian, and he has to treat me right. That's what Lunez
he's
is rooting for.
no,
thinking about a
as long
white
as
man. His whole
black man.
facial expression changed.
Huh?
His whole facial expression changed. Just
Yeah,
thinking about it.
if he's Haitian, then I'll make it even better. He's like, all right, Liz.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Just be happy. That's what
shit.
I'm gonna tell you. Just be happy.
But
You'll be
I get
happy.
what you're saying. I see both views though. I really am in the middle. I do lean more to one side than the other. But overall, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was a real good one. Hey, let me
Yeah.
ask you guys something. What do you think your spouses would say?
About
The
Hey,
dating.
I know if someone said she used to be with a white man, she's getting divorced. I know that much.
yep. Say it again.
What about you, Jeb? How do you feel? What do you think your spouses would say about this?
I don't know. She know my past. I got
No,
nothing
but
to
like,
hide.
yeah, but like, what would she say about, do you think that she would be okay dating outside of her culture or, things like that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Lunez, what
You
about
know the
you?
funny thing is, I felt like she probably felt the same way Lunas does.
Hmm.
Probably the same. She probably felt the same way Lunas does. That's the crazy thing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not like it. I wish I could do something
Me,
about it, but
I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it,
there's a lot
as
wrong
long
with it.
as you know.
There's a lot wrong with it, Gibson.
No, there's.
Well, I'm gonna cut the live so we can have our last conversation for tonight. What do you guys think? Well, not tonight, it's
Cool.
morning.
Yeah, right?
That's crazy. All right.